Plenty of excitement this season about a Baltimore team led by former NFL MVP Lamar Jackson and with a revamped offense. But don't sleep on the Commanders this season. They could emerge as a surprise contender, says Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
When you look at this roster, top to bottom, this is one of the best rosters in the NFL. Remember, they were a top 5 defense from a year ago. They were that good. I think they were the 3rd-ranked total defense in the National Football League. That's pretty damn good. I mean, think about it. You got a really good receiving corps. You got 2 solid running backs in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Heisman Trophy winner USC's Caleb Williams, Ohio State receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michigan running back Blake Corum among the returning first-team players selected to the Associated Press preseason All-America team. Georgia had the most players on the first team with 4.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, what's happening? Happy game week in Jacksonville for the first time since the Jaguars beat the Chargers. How about that? You like that? Good memories.
It's a good time.
You like that? Is that what he says?
That's what he says.
Yeah, I thought so.
Not good. I can't believe what just happened. If only Aaron was here. You caught me so off guard, I wasn't even ready for that. Man.
I was thinking Kirk Cousins.
Ah, well done.
You got me thinking somebody else.
Yeah. I thought that's what you were doing.
Hilarious, actually.
You were really doing Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I was.
Oh.
That's funny. That is really funny, actually. Because I didn't say, that's Kirk Cousins. He says that.
He does.
That other guy says something a little different, I think.
Equally as bad, though. Tell you what.
Easy now. Brent Martineau, that is Kasey Kuhrts, Aaron Schachter playing daddy duty. God bless those kids.
I know, right?
He'll be around this week, but not here today. And a Monday where everybody is hitting the panic button. Can't we celebrate the depth of the Jacksonville Jaguars for once? I mean, they just dominated the Detroit Lions on Saturday, didn't they?
Yes.
And we're worried.
I mean, there's reason to be worried. Every offensive lineman that's like able-bodied is like, we're going. We'll see you. Got to come off the game. Like, I mean, domination in the preseason does not, I guess, counteract what happened with everybody coming off the field.
I think I think everybody's being a little too panicky here.
No.
You don't think so?
Well, I think there's not a decent amount, but I think the panic that has ensued has been acceptable.
Really? Like, I was doing this the other day because I was catching it, and I know Sexton during the broadcast, Brian Sexton, and Bucky Brooks, they were talking about the linemen, and every time they come down to me, I'd be like, okay, another guy's in the blue tent. Like, I understand
yeah,
I saw that.
A lot of blue tent action. That thing was getting work up and down, up and down.
But as I was thinking about it, and one of the things that's strong about this football team is the depth on the offensive line. They really liked it. They thought that was going to be a hard decision to make on the 53. Now, some of these things are happening. It might be an easier decision to make. So I get that. But then I had to remind myself, I'm like, okay, depth is good, and you probably need it. Jags needed it last year with 3 tackles, understood. The Cam Robinson story is magnified now by the fact that you are getting beaten up by your depth. Like, that story is hurting more and more, the fact that he's suspended. I'll give people that. But listen, Anton Harrison, well, you can be concerned about him. I'm not, because he's going to play through it. Guys play through stuff. And when he's played through it so far in practices and even the early small samples of a game, he's looked really good.
And I'm not concerned about Anton Harrison playing. Like, I understand if they had to run out there for week 1, he's going to play. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get worse if he has to play through it.
It's true. Usually, okay, just usually. We don't know. These things are so hard to really speculate on or really say with conviction what we know and don't know when it comes to injuries. First of all, we're not that smart, and we're not doctors. So we have no idea how these guys are feeling. And we also don't know the true magnitude of every injury because they keep it under wraps. I mean, just the way the NFL is, and especially in the preseason, you don't have to tell anybody anything. So we know this about Anton Harrison. Shoulder injury, that's limited him. They're being cautious with it. But it appears when people say he's going to play through it or going to have to deal with it, it's a pain tolerance thing. I think that's safe to say. Usually with a pain tolerance deal, some injuries come to mind, and I have no idea which one Harrison is. But a C joint, that's been a thing in the past. Labrum, to some degree, is something you can play with, but certainly is a pain tolerance deal. No idea. Which one is it? Is it something different? Who knows? He's going to play, though. And the bottom line is the young man looks really good when he plays. So I'm okay there to your point. He's going to start the year. Hopefully it doesn't get exacerbated and hurt more, and they're okay there.
It just feels very House of Cardsy, Brent.
It does. Like, I get it, but football's that way. I guess that's a little of my point. Like, this is football, guys. I mean, people get hurt. Look around the National Football League.
Yeah, but
people
all your left guards don't get hurt.
The left guard thing, I'll get to. I'm going to start on the right side. Brandon Sheriff appears like he's doing well. Fortner appears like everything's good. The good news about the left guard spot is Ben Barch comes back. That's the guy you want starting.
Yes.
I think.
He comes back to practice.
Well, yeah. But again, he's got 3 weeks, man. He's got 3 weeks to get back. And he's played before. It's not like a guy that's never played. So as long as he checks out and he continues on this path, and they've been very cautious. That was an early injury last year. I think week 7 it was, and he has sat out a long time to heal that knee. So hopefully it's in good shape. We'll get a little action, I think, from him, according to Doug Peterson, on Saturday to shake some of the rust off, and then it's on to the regular season. And then Walker Little, wherever you put him right now, it appears to be pretty good.
I agree with that.
Played good at the guard position the other night to get reps in. He's been good at the left tackle spot. In fact, the way I watched Cam Robinson play, and Doug kind of confirmed it this morning, Cam did not look good the other day.
No.
At the left tackle spot.
Nah, wasn't good.
So, again, I think he's a big part of the domino effect here. But I also think Walker Little playing the left tackle spot, after what I saw the other day, might be a better thing right now in my mind. And I'm fine with Cam. I think Cam's a good player. I think this is a hard deal right now for Cam Robinson. The stuff doesn't matter until October. And he's just getting reps, and he's out there a lot when he's normally not out there. I bet mentally that's a tough thing to kind of do and overcome and be sharp. I can kind of get that. So where do you lose? So you get your guys. You get your top 5 guys. Tyler Shatley, I think, is still a very interesting wild card here. Is he going to play? Doug Peterson said today, blood thinners still on it. Last week of it, I think. And then how does that shake out? I am not convinced that guy's going to play football again. I'm just not because of that situation. And I'm trying to think like him, a guy who's been in the league for a decade, who's got a family, who had a scare with the heart. I'm thinking like my wife would be talking to me and saying, hey, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Right? But as of now, he's on the sideline. He's on the football team, and I think he's going to be there at this stage, especially with the rash of injuries that they do have in the depth. Blake Hance, I think what we've seen is, saw him at right tackle a couple of times. No thank you. Better at the guard spot.
No thank you.
Right? Better at the guard spot. Josh Wells is significant here because that is going to linger, it appears, for quite some time. Groin area, abductor, I think they also say. That doesn't look great. And as many people aren't lining up to get autographs for Josh Wells and put him in the pride of the Jaguars, that's a veteran presence that knows how to play multiple positions. And I think there's your depth play that it kind of hurts. And then Cooper Hodges was really coming on. But it's actually good news on Hodges. That could have easily been see you for the year.
Right.
And it's not.
Maybe see you forever.
And honestly, if things go well this year, you don't want to see Cooper Hodges play in 2023. Because Brandon Sheriff's playing at an all-pro level or Pro Bowl level.
Right.
So I'm just going to have injuries. I don't know if it's time to be so panicked. I do think it's time to hold your breath a little bit on Saturday.
Right.
I get that. And you're going to really do that. And I think most of Jacksonville's going to do that. I'll probably be doing that as well. But the bottom line is Doug is going to play his guys. He said it again today. He's playing them. Now, will he pull him out after he sees some good stuff earlier than maybe he had planned?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, right? I agree with you on that one, but they're going to play on Saturday night. All right, so that's the offensive line. I probably didn't make you feel that much better, Kasey, but
I feel worse, actually. I don't know how. But the part that you're calm makes me more worried, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. Last year.
Like, just don't play Walker Little. Play Cam at left tackle, I'm saying on Saturday. Play Cam at left tackle, play Hance at left guard, let Walker Little. Because you can't lose Walker Little.
No,
if there's one person you can't lose, it's Walker Little.
Well, there's more than that right now. Listen, Fortner, if Shatley, depending. You can't lose it. I understand now you're thinner. But the bottom line is you are not going to feel good as a Jags fan if you had to play one of those guys that just got hurt on Saturday instead of the guy that's supposed to be playing anyway. That's my point. Like the front five, the starting five, and really like six are still intact. And you got to try to keep it that way anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's an important thing. Like they're better than the backups, folks, and significantly.
Agree with that.
So last year, I think at the end, Cam Robinson got hurt.
He did.
Sheriff played with an injury most of the season, as we understand it. And the Jags stayed pretty healthy outside of that once Tyler Shatley went into the game for Ben Barch. They almost were seamless without Barch and Shatley jumping in.
Yeah.
Walker Little did a hell of a job for Cam Robinson.
And for those couple of drives for Jawan Taylor, because that happened.
Yes, so that vouches for your depth.
See, but I agree, but I think you can't take for granted that Shatley was here forever and he just went in and it was seamless. Like, is that going to happen with any other guy who hasn't been here for that long and been in the league for that long and understand what it takes to play multiple positions on the offensive line? Like, I think Shatley is like the ultimate depth play where you can play at multiple positions and you're not worried about it. Do some of these other guys who haven't done it for a career like Shatley has, can they go in and be as good or keep it up to speed would be the question, I think.
Yeah, and I guess you're kind of talking to my point. I don't know what the answer to that is, Kasey, and I don't want to find out anyway. So as long as those frontline guys, the ones, are still there and scheduled to go by Sunday morning, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I think you can sign guys off waivers that can flip a coin and maybe be good to back them up if need be.
I think
much
they need
like
to
the
do
depth
that.
already is. I mean, that's going to happen anyway. I mean, Blake Hance, he's done a nice job. He's a cool little story. He can play multiple positions. But the bottom line is, if he runs out there with the ones against Indianapolis or Kansas City for some reason, you're still going to question it. Because we don't know it.
I agree with that.
So that's my whole deal on the offensive line. Now, the other big one is DaVon Hamilton. And this, let me just set the scene, because obviously I tweeted this on Saturday night. And I'm just going to take you back to Saturday night in our situation. We do a post-game show right after, so we're kind of hustling around. We're doing some stand-ups for TV. We get in. What happens is Doug Peterson talks, and then the locker room opens. Well, Doug Peterson was kind of already talking as we were getting up there, done with some of our TV stuff. So we're going to get the locker room for our post-game show, and we do get a couple of guys in the locker room. It's a small locker room in Detroit, too, which is weird because it's a nice facility, but it's a small visitor's locker room. Everything's crammed together. And so we're getting a couple guys. I don't remember how many guys we had gotten, but we're almost on the way out of the locker room.
Got some good ones, though, Brent.
Yeah, we got some good folks. And I think I had just got Tim Jones.
Okay.
And I look to my left as we're done with Tim Jones, and I see a guy that looks like DaVon Hamilton on crutches. And in my mind, this is not adding up. I do a double take. Like, that's DaVon Hamilton, like with a trainer or something, on crutches, moving very slow, or not even moving. I do it again. Like, why is DaVon Hamilton on crutches? This makes no sense. He did not play.
Brent's just standing still in Tim Jones's personal space.
I really am.
He's like,
I'm baffled by this in my mind. We did not see this on the practice field. I was in the same hotel as this team, and not that you see every player, but I didn't see DaVon Hamilton or didn't even get word of it, anything like that. Usually those kind of things will happen. Didn't take like a whole roster check on the warm-ups because they're not even in uniform.
Sure.
And now by this time I've verified in my own mind that, yes, that is DaVon Hamilton. You know what he looks like.
Nice.
But he is really not moving.
Not nice.
I mean, it is – crutches are the help, but a wheelchair would have been better.
Jeez.
I'm not lying. Like,
I believe it.
And so you don't know what it is. I'm even asking around, and we're all kind of in, like, even some folks that you would think know are kind of like, well, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And nobody really knows. And Doug had already talked, so it's not like you can go back in there and ask him a question about it. And, I mean, he was really laboring to get out of the locker room. So much so that I even said in the last couple of days, I'm like, I don't know how the dude flew home. Like, it must have been painful, whatever was hurting him.
Just to go back to the crutches part, what did you think was happening at this point? Like, I know you were in shock because you didn't know why, but, like, we know now that it's a back, but, like, at the time, what did it look like to you?
Well, I just think crutches automatically. I'm thinking, what did he do to his something in the lower half, right? Like,
right,
what did
but he didn't have, like, a
knee
boot or anything? Nothing.
But he was really slow. And so by the time we got out of Ford Field and we're going to the airport, we're starting to kind of conjecture amongst ourselves that there's something more back-oriented.
Okay. Right?
Instead of lower extremity, because the way he was moving. And that's why I said he would have probably been better off getting a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know how much the crutches were doing, and he's probably got to put a lot of work into it at 300-something pounds.
Yeah.
And also why I said that flight home must have been miserable based on what he looked like just trying to get to the bus to go to the airport.
Right.
And really, folks, like, that was it. That was all we knew. And then the Jags last night, probably because of a lot of peppering from local media, once this did come out, issued a statement about a non-football related back injury. And they're monitoring it. The latest update this morning from Doug Peterson, I'm sure if you've been following the story, you heard that he got a text that he's doing better, which is good, but he didn't really elaborate on what the nature of the injury is.
Yeah, what does that even
mean? Now,
mean?
last night we're playing a game and, like, trying to figure out, okay, what kind of injury could you be? From sleeping on it wrong?
That was my first thought.
To slipping in the shower type thing? You can start thinking of guys that use slip in the shower for something else, like off a curb or whatever. Like, that's happened in the world of sports. But, like, none of that. Like, we have no idea what – you can just start guessing what it might be. I don't know how you have a non-football related injury to your back that looks like as bad as it did.
Yeah.
Now, the back – this guy's a big guy, man. These guys a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. Did he literally, like, throw out his back like people throw out their back? Did he bend over and get something and it went? I mean, it's as simple as that, I guess, if it's non-football. Because I initially thought, okay, I missed this Thursday at practice where he went off the field. And then I was like, could he have gotten hurt in a walkthrough? Like, took a bad step or something like that? But they said non-football related.
Right.
So we really have no idea. I mean, it's been out and I haven't seen it, but we have really no idea why he has this injury. The only good news here is that he looks like he's on the road to recovery for whatever that means. No timetable on it.
Right, that could mean anything.
Really good.
They figured it out.
Like what I said. Now here, the other thing is if you can, you're in a situation where, let's just say something flared up literally during the game or right before the game and he was in the locker room the whole time. Whether you need a whatever they give you, kind of medicine or shot or whatever, you can't get it right there. You might have to get back to Jacksonville before he could get anything to alleviate some of the pain. Brutal. And then once you alleviate, maybe you're like, okay, I feel good about it now. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. We have no idea what happened. We have no idea what's wrong, and we have no idea how to treat it. This is why talking about injuries are very difficult, especially here in the preseason. But I can just tell you, he did not look good to the point of where you can tell me fully Kasey is going to be pretty much ready by week 1, and I believe it. Precautionary boot. I get it. Anton Harrison can play in and out, monitor that shoulder, he can play. Got it. What I saw Saturday night, that dude ain't playing for a while in DaVon Hamilton.
So you are
unless medicine is really good.
Significantly more concerned about that than the offensive line.
Yes.
Okay.
Way more concerned about that. And here's the other part of it. He has been a dominant player. A dominant player. Like, you got to be a little careful about dominance in camp, but he's been dominant. In the little bit he played in the game. Remember, we talked about him all last week.
Yep.
He's been really good in the practices with the Lions. Now, here's what makes me feel a little bit better about the Jags in this context. Roy Robertson Harris has been dominant too. Foley Kasey has been very good, and we expect him to be back by week 1. We just hope nothing lingers there because we went through it last year with him. But he has been fantastic, one of the stars. Roy Robertson Harris isn't getting attention. Josh Allen told us the other night in a production meeting, he's unblockable. Our guys can't block him. Their guys can't block him. The only time he gets blocked is when he's working on something. But if he's trying to beat you, you ain't getting him. That's how good Roy Robertson Harris has been right now in August. Picking up where he left off. That makes me feel better. The other side of it is their depth actually played well up front these 2 games.
They do. They all of a sudden have depth up there. I agree with you there.
The Ledbetter dude is a veteran, by the way. He's not a young guy. He's a veteran.
I think he's on the team.
He's absolutely right now on the team, it appears. Gotsis is a capable guy. Mm-hmm. I actually thought I saw good things from the Vohasek kid. Mm-hmm. It was a 7th-round pick, I think. Big body, strong guy, So he can chew up some space. I think they've got some options there. The last part of this is we can't be so naive that the Jags aren't going to get injuries, folks. It's football.
Yeah. This is just weird.
This is a weird one. And I still can't fully explain it. I can just tell you what I did for the last 7-8 minutes of what I saw.
Right. There's one thing, like if you see a guy get hurt, it's like, okay, you have to accept it. But then when you don't see it, it's like he's hurt. It's like I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it's just like, what happened here? Like it's harder to process.
Yeah, and again, speculation gets in your mind because they don't tell you.
Right.
So did something bad happen?
Right. No.
Was it something stupid? Was it?
I doubt it.
Just something. Like I don't understand some of the lack of transparency there because I think you're letting the story kind of build itself. But you're also going to be very careful with medical issues that are very private.
Right. This might be like a thing.
Fully understand that.
Yeah.
Right? So really at this time, you just kind of wish the best for DaVon Hamilton. Just signed an extension. Really good football player. Like that looked like a hell of a find in the draft and a good sign and a develop. Like that's the story. That's what you want to do to build a good franchise. Quietly, DaVon Hamilton was becoming a dominant player for you and nobody was noticing. Because you drafted him in the middle rounds, you developed him, you extended him. And he was looking like he was playing his best football of his life last year and even into the early parts of this year. Mm-hmm. So I just hope he can continue that. And this checks out okay. I guess the good news is today they didn't rule him out for like an extended period of time. So they're going to monitor it. It may be way too early to do that, but there was no indication of that. So that's good news. And I just, again, I'm not telling you, like, Jags got so lucky with injuries last year.
Yeah.
The Jags are going to lose players. And I tweeted this, I think this morning or yesterday. The Jags have a lot of good players. They really do. They have a good roster. And so when you have somebody go down, you're going to be like, damn, how are we going to live without this guy? Well, they have a lot of good other players too. And I think this team is equipped to handle more injuries than, let's just say, last year's team. I'm not rooting for them. None of us are. But I do think it's going to happen, and you can't get as lucky as the Jags got last year. You just hope it's not devastatingly bad on the injury front. And I'm just not buying the panic, devastation of this past week because some of the depth play of the offensive line. Like, I can't get there.
Ain't nobody said devastation, Brent.
Yeah, getting a little panicky, though.
A little panicky.
You even admitted you were a little panicky.
Little panicky. They got to, I'm panicky because they got to do this again on Saturday.
They do. I get that. I said,
did you see
crossed,
how many
your breath.
dudes got carted off around the league this week?
Yeah, that's another story to talk about.
Like if they're going to play, we're panicking until they're off the field.
The Jags are going to lose some folks throughout the year. It's going to happen.
Easier to accept.
It's going to happen. Hopefully, they haven't lost anybody for the year yet. That will be the best news.
I agree with that.
If that's the case. And we just don't know just yet. DaVon Hamilton's, it's an interesting situation, and one we'll continue to monitor and hopefully get some updates. And one good thing here is you got 3 weeks until the start of the year. I mean, you really have 3 weeks, and you got a half of football to get through. And some of these guys, you don't have to worry about them getting through. DaVon Hamilton ain't playing, right? So, healthy for 2 quarters, 3 weeks' time, heals some wounds, gets everybody ready.
Every night before I go to bed, I'm going to ask for Walker Little to be a healthy scratch on Saturday.
Yeah, they played quite a bit the other day, too, deep into that second quarter.
We've seen enough. We'll see against Indy.
He's a good football player.
He really, yeah.
Good football player. Does the dominance of the Jags against the Lions and their depth doesn't mean something? Interesting that we're seeing joint practices canceled. The whole league is doing them, and then in the last 48 hours, we get 2 that are canceled. Are we on to something different all of a sudden as the league pivoted? Or are these just 2 extra special kind of circumstances? We'll visit that coming up. Brent Friends just getting rolling on ESPN 690 here on a Monday.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly to partly sunny on this Monday with temperatures in the upper 80s at the beaches and low 90s in the Jacksonville metro. We'll have onshore winds and they'll be a bit breezy at times. They were mostly clear and mild tonight with temperatures in the mid 70s while we stay dry. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. For a limited time, get 5 years, 0 interest, only at Beards Diamonds.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
And we're Anajar and Levine. Experience the Anajar and Levine difference by calling us with any of your legal needs. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Be ready for anything on the road or off the road this summer at Nimnick Buick GMC. Car Bravo is here, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnick Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Are you looking for a used car under $20,000? Check out Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway or NimnickBuickGMC.com. Want an oil change from the comfort of your living room? Check out NimnickBuickGMC.com. Mobile oil changes with Nimnick GMC. We are professional grade.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
Frank, you got to come see my new windows from American Window Products. They're beautiful and they keep the house so cool.
Oh, slow down, Jim.
No, Frank. American Window Products is having a sale right now, and you said you wanted a locally owned business with qualified products and professional installers. Well, American Window Products has all that and more.
More?
Yes, selection and great prices at American Window Products.
Oh, what's that number?
731-2247, a family-owned business since 1981. Check them out at AmericanWindowProducts.com. Call them, Frank.
I'm calling American Window Products right now, Jim.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
Find out what's causing your hair to fall out. Can your hair grow back? What procedures or products will work? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS's Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They're the only clinic to offer the trademark multi-unit hair grafting, PRP platelet-rich plasma, and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure. Real solutions, real results.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Touch a Truck is back. Join ESPN 690 for this free family fun event this Saturday morning at the Brooks Family YMCA. Kids get a first-hand view of fire trucks, police cars, cement trucks, school buses, and even a helicopter. And you can donate school supplies to the YMCA's after-school program. Touch a Truck is presented by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks, Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company, CGC Water Treatment, and Arlington Toyota. Join us for Touch a Truck this Saturday starting at 8 a.m.
Digital marketing, well, my intern handles the social media, my brother-in-law does my search, and my receptionist sends out email blasts. All done.
Your digital marketing may get done, but is it doing anything? No? Then let CMG Local Solutions help. At CMG Local Solutions, we combine the best-in-class technology and analytics to maximize your digital dollars while targeting local customers for your business. So your digital marketing doesn't just get done, it gets results. Learn more about how we can help you at cmglocalsolutions.com.
Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe. Hey, welcome back on a Monday. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville Jaguars have now pretty much broken camp, by the way. They move on to a regular kind of game week. Not totally regular, but practice is more shifted to the afternoon. They were in the indoor facility today at the Miller Electric Center. Practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Day off before the game on Friday. And then, of course, they play the Miami Dolphins. That'll be on CBS 47 on Saturday evening. And then get out of Dodge for a couple of weeks. Or at least dodge any trouble for the couple of weeks in terms of injuries and everything else, and then play the Indianapolis Colts in week number 1. So we are almost there, folks. We are definitely almost there. Jags are 2-0 this preseason.
Sweet.
We don't care about wins and losses, but I was interested yesterday. I was like, I have not covered a lot of preseason wins in the Jags. When's the last time I covered 2 in a row? I went back to 2018. Prior to that, it was 2012.
Jeez.
Crazy enough, they did it again in 2010 and 8.
These boys certainly aren't the preseason Ravens, that's for sure.
No, and I think I heard the stat before yesterday's win, they were 2-10 in their last 12 in the preseason. So just funny. It means nothing. If you want to know how little it means and why you got to be a little careful to get overly excited or too dramatic about any performance, good or bad. I mean, all you got to do is see the Lions when they went 0-16. They went 4-0 in the preseason. The Jaguars, even last year, 0-4 in the preseason, and then go on to get to the playoffs. So I don't think it means I don't think it correlates too much one way or another. You certainly couldn't buy stock in anything that happens. But I do think something happened on Saturday that caught my attention, because that I haven't seen in Jacksonville. The depth absolutely dominated a playoff team, or what people think will be a playoff team in the Detroit Lions. I get it. The ones didn't play for either team. Understood. But the Jags dominated Kasey.
They did.
And there's 2 main goals of this offseason, I think, for the Jags. I think if they were to lay it out, there's probably a lot more than that. 2 main goals coming out of last year. Build depth on the roster and get the power game going in terms of the run game. Now, again, there's a lot of other stuff. But power game, depth. Well, let's talk depth first. The Jags have it. They've got some great competitions going on. The receiver competition is sick. Like, all these guys are making plays. We liked, until the injuries, the depth on the offensive line. The running back room, how about Dearness Johnson?
Yeah.
I mean, a guy nobody's talking about from the other day that impressed maybe the most was Dearness Johnson. Tank Bigsby was fantastic. Talk about the power game. That dude's good.
Yeah. Understatement of the week so far.
Well, and I'm just going to be honest. I'm not a hypocrite here. I question the pick. I'm like, why are they picking a running back in the 3rd round?
Because he's good.
Well, one, he better be good if you're going to pick him in the 3rd round when you don't really need one, you know?
Well, it's not that they didn't really need one. They didn't need one.
Yeah, they already had a pretty good room, and a room that they were invested in.
Yes.
So, but here's the deal. They might have got a steal. They might have got a steal in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And there's one other element of this that I don't think you're going to hear the Jags talk a lot about. We met with ETN in our production meeting, and he actually discussed it a bit. And that's the competition part of it. I think one thing I said last year when we were talking about the maturity and makeup of the football team, if you went to every position group except for the running back room, they seemed to have a veteran player in the room along with the young guys.
Yep.
Well, the running back room didn't have that. Etienne and some of you. Now, Jermichael Hasty's been in the league a little bit, but you just didn't have that, like, hey, this guy's been around, like Brandon Sheriff kind of guy. I think they added to that room, not for leadership necessarily, but for competition and to get the best out of a guy like Etienne. I think that's in part why they did it. They also think Tank Bigsby's pretty good, and it looks like he might be a steal. They also think he can help in the power run game. But when everybody's trying to shape this out as a competition, no, Etienne's their guy still. In my opinion, Etienne is their guy. He's the number one guy. But he's also going to be the best Etienne he can be because Bigsby's pretty good. No different than a lot of other positions that the Jack. You know what? Devin Lloyd is forced to be pretty good. You know why? Because Chad Muma's not bad. They got a place to go.
Ventrell Miller's not bad.
Caleb Johnson might not be bad.
Yeah.
And it's not just the one play by Caleb Johnson. That's not why I say that. I mean, he shows up. So the depth on this football team absolutely dominated on Saturday.
They're going to have a hard time cutting people. Because I was trying to do this little exercise, and I was like, not a lot of guys to cut, I don't think. Now, the injuries might change that, but...
Yeah, injuries certainly can change and make the decisions for you. The other thing that I think is interesting to watch here, and I can't find many, so I don't know how to answer this question, but I raise it, is will the Jags cut a veteran? What happens a lot of times with cuts, you're like, wow, they cut that guy? Well, they might because of they might have a younger guy that they think can develop into that guy and then some, but at a cheaper rate, especially when you're about to spend big bucks next offseason, right? But I don't know if they even have too many of those situations.
Not at the positions where you have young guys. I mean, the only one that comes to mind is like a Herndon versus, Gregory Jr. and who else was making plays? Braswell?
Yeah, and maybe Antonio Johnson if you wanted to get into that role, right, when he gets healthy. I was thinking the same. I was like, okay, Herndon, but what they do? Sign him for like $2 million? Like $2 million is nothing. Like, what do you're not making a move for $2 million.
I mean, I don't think they're cutting Hasty, but.
Yeah, and I don't think they're cutting Hasty too because I think they like him in that third round role, and I don't think they love Snoop Connor. I mean, he still continues to be just okay to me.
Yes, yeah. But. That's the only where else you can find it because you're not doing that on the defensive line now, especially if you've got a DaVon Hamilton situation.
Yeah.
Like the only other option would have been Gotsis, maybe, but
yeah, that's a good call.
I don't think you're doing that now.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they were doing that ever. But
I would even think, okay, do you have a safety that you like instead of Wingard? Well, you just signed Wingard. Like and he's not crazy.
How do you look at Daniel Thomas? He's been here a while. He's not like a veteran, but he's been here.
But here's the deal. I thought about Daniel Thomas, and that's not a money move as much. Could you get younger in that move? Yes. I think they love him on special teams, man.
He flies around. Whenever he's on the field, he flies. Even I remember last year in preseason, I was like, Daniel Thomas is flying around. Like, not just on special teams.
So we can agree the Jaguars have pretty good depth.
Yeah. They really do.
Okay, let me ask you this. Does it matter? Like, when will it matter?
Hopefully
never.
Is
it good enough? I know, that's I guess, when you can plug and play a guy, right? I think it's good for competition, like I just said about Bigsby and Etienne. I think Etienne, you're going to see the best Etienne because Bigsby's coming to get some of his carries, and he looks more than capable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting in the Herndon situation. Gregory Jr.'s got 3 turnovers. Gregory Jr. has definitely taken a step.
Gregory Jr., as of now, needs to be on the field when they play the Colts.
Yeah, you can make the case. Now, does he get it all? Is he in the right spots? Is he doing some other things that we don't see and jump off the TV? That will be a different question. Who do they trust, Kasey? That will be part of it. But The point is, he is pushing Herndon. To the point that you say that. Like, that's how much push.
Yeah.
I think the linebacker situation is a good one. I don't think you're forcing the biggest example of what I just said from a dollar standpoint would be Foye Oluokun. Can you find somebody to replace him? But you're not taking him off, right?
Well, if you're talking about linebacker, maybe Shaq Quarterman, who's been here.
Yeah.
Because I think Ventrell Miller's good.
And you're starting to save like $800,000. These aren't big money things like if you make those moves, and maybe you do. Like, they might have just got rid of Carson Tinker because he was going to make $1 million instead of $600. You know, like, at those positions, it comes in and makes a difference. But, hey, listen, this is a good thing. The Jags said they needed to do something, and it looks like they've done it. And let me go one deeper here. 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, May, June, July, August, 16 months ago, the Jacksonville Jaguars had just picked first in the NFL draft on 2 consecutive years. They essentially had one of the worst teams, if not the worst rosters in the National Football League. That's what that says.
Yep.
16 months later, they have a pretty damn good football team with some depth to it.
They really do.
That is amazing.
It's new.
And by the way,
it's different.
One of the architects of doing that is the guy that everybody wanted to run out of town.
Also true.
I mean, this dude is Trent Baalke and Doug and the staff. And all you have to do is look at the receiver position because they have guys all over the place. Some are like an Elijah Cooks is a guy they probably could have picked in the 6th round, and they had him on their board, and they end up getting him as an undrafted free agent. The other 2 guys are actually players that have been in the league. Jacob Harris and
Seth Williams.
Seth Williams. I mean, these guys have played some football in the National Football League, and they look ready and primed. Tim Jones, nice catch. Still the incumbent who they trust and like, I think. Does a lot of the dirty work stuff. Not as sexy as those other guys probably, and not as big a body. Will that make a difference? Because here's the deal. One thing about all these receivers, I love the fact that all these receivers are making plays. Like, that is really cool. Usually you see someone flop under the lights. These guys aren't flopping. I'll tell you, even the Oliver Martin kid. Like, he's probably nowhere even on the radar of plans. But he's making plays.
There's a lot of plays being made from all of these positions. Like, it feels like we're talking about Gregory Jr., you're talking about other guys in the secondary. DaVon Hamilton, he doesn't go down in the game because he never played, but you see these guys that now are getting opportunity and are making plays. You feel that way about the tight ends who are coming on, offensive line. It's not just one spot where they have guys making plays. It feels like in almost every position, their depth is making plays.
Who's the receiver you want to keep right now? Had to make the move.
Seth Williams.
Really interesting.
It's close.
Well, I think if you're putting the GM hat on, I think you're going to have to try to get Elijah Cooks on the practice squad and see if you can keep him there. Nobody picks him up.
Sure.
Just the way it's going to shake out. Williams is impressive. He's been pretty impressive in practices too, but Jacob Harris is not far behind him.
I know. It's close.
Like, really close. And again, I think Tim Jones is a major factor here. I think we're going to try to forget. We like new blood. We want to see this bigger body, but I don't think they're going to forget about Tim Jones. I think he's very much in the mix of that.
I like Tim.
Parker Washington's going to make the team.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's come on, actually. Like, I tweeted this at one point this week. I wasn't overly impressed with Parker Washington in the spring or even early in camp. I really think he's come on as of late. And he can also play in the return game. And you drafted. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. You drafted him. Like, there's a bias toward that.
I get it.
So
I don't believe I think if they keep him over a Seth Williams or a Jacob Harris or whatever, I don't think they made the right decision. Because what we've seen most of him doing is in the return game, not his job. Job's not available. It's Jamal Agnew's job. If he gets hurt, obviously then there's a situation where you would need a Parker Washington. But the thing we've seen him do the most is not a job that's posted for available right now.
Okay. But I'm going to bounce back here with whoever gets that receiver spot is also a job that's not really available right now. They've got Zay Jones, they've got Christian Kirk, they've got Jamal Agnew, and they've got Calvin Ridley.
I agree.
The guy's not playing. The funny thing is we're all about this receiver thing because it's kind of fun. They're all making plays. They're all making pretty big plays, and they're not going to play. Like,
I agree
they're
with
really
that.
not going to play. So, although Tim Jones got in there quite a bit last year, I said, as a blocking wide receiver and in on special teams, so like they will play in that. But I'm saying like they're not going to catch. The guy that makes this team catches less than 5 balls this year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If everybody stays healthy. Like less than 5. So it's funny that we get on, but it is a fun topic. And it also just shows the Jags scouting and who they're bringing in goes deep here. Like, they know how to identify the position. That's a beautiful thing. We cannot in Jacksonville take that for granted. We haven't had that. We have not had the ability to find enough good players in Jacksonville. And right now, this scouting staff, coaching staff, the collaboration, however that's working behind closed doors, is really effective and made this team have some really good depth. It doesn't have the Philadelphia Eagles depth, but it's got depth that last year it would be really hard in some spots to survive an injury. We saw it with Shaq Griffin. Took like 6 weeks to figure the thing out.
Yeah.
The Jags are more equipped to handle those kind of things. Again, there are some spots that you can't lose. You don't want to lose, understood. You don't want to lose numerous spots. But they're now more equipped to handle some potential losses for hopefully just a short period of time because of that depth.
You think they have a better chance of getting a Parker Washington type to the practice squad or a Jacob Harris, Seth Williams to the practice squad? The bigger guy or the smaller guy? Like, it feels like Parker might be a guy you can get there versus if you look at what Seth Williams and Jacob Harris has done, teams could be like, well, he's also big, and we can use that.
Yeah, I think the multiple skill set of Washington and a guy that was drafted, obviously, at a relatively decent time, not just a flyer in the 7th round, shows me that other teams are interested enough and probably would have interest enough and know the skill set. And again, the dual role possibility there, certainly there's no way you can put him in. He's on the team. Parker Washington's on the team. And I actually think you're right. You probably got to fly with Jacob Harris. Maybe can go under the radar a little bit more than a guy like Seth Williams to me at this point. But that's a tough call, man. It's a tough call. Somebody's going to pick off the Jags, one of these guys. And they're probably going to get a pretty good player. Might be able to get some good stuff. I mean, is one of those three guys Allen Lazard? I know we joke around on Allen Lazard, how much money he's making. I'm saying the Allen Lazard that went to Green Bay.
Yeah.
One of these guys could easily be that.
I mean, it feels like if the Rams could do it over, they wouldn't cut Jacob Harris for what they currently have and what it looks like he might be, which is maybe just a serviceable player. But still, I mean.
Two cool things about those guys. Jacob Harris could obviously do some research for the broadcast. Jacob Harris, a soccer guy, you know.
I did not.
Didn't play organized football until his senior year. I think he comes from the state of Florida. And Seth Williams, obviously an Auburn kid. He went to Paul Bryant High School in Tuscaloosa.
Really?
Recruited by Alabama and chose Auburn over Alabama. I wonder how that sat when that decision was made.
That's a good point.
Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Digital marketing, well, my intern handles the social media, my brother-in-law does my search, and my receptionist sends out email blasts. All done.
Your digital marketing may get done, but is it doing anything? No? Then let CMG Local Solutions help. At CMG Local Solutions, we combine the best-in-class technology and analytics to maximize your digital dollars while targeting local customers for your business. So your digital marketing doesn't just get done, it gets results. Learn more about how we can help you at cmglocalsolutions.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Every business seeks an advantage, whether it's having the best location, hiring top talent, or spotting trends before they happen. And now, the United States Postal Service can give your business a new advantage. Introducing USPS Ground Advantage. Reliable and affordable 2 to 5 day package shipping. It's the advantage you need at the price you want. Get the Ground Advantage at USPS.com/advantage. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call now for your free evaluation and see if multi-unit hair grafting or PRP can restore your hair. Call 904-777-IHRS.
My bald spots are gone. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS is the only clinic in the Southeast to offer all proven solutions to restore your hair and is now offering multi-unit hair grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair. I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
The Dell Technologies Back to School event is on with deals on top tech for class, hobbies, and more. Now, when you buy, you support a cause. With every eligible purchase, Dell will donate to UNICEF in support of GIGA, a UNICEF ITU global initiative to connect schools across the globe to the internet. Accidental damage protection included. Get rare deals on select laptops and desktops powered by the latest Intel Core processors. Save now at Dell.com/deals. UNICEF does not endorse any company, brand, product, or service.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
At the UPS Store, you can ship it all. We're your bulky sports equipment shipping store, your heavy luggage shipping store, your fancy art shipping store. We're even your I can't believe it's already time for back to school shipping store. So visit your neighborhood We Ship It All store for dependable UPS shipping with easy-to-use tracking and competitive rates. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. The UPS Store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
So are joint practices here to stay, or now we're going to see a 180? The Patriots, after the Isaiah Bolden injury, young man who started his career, actually a high school career, in the Jacksonville area, Bartram, they canceled the rest of that game.
Right.
Interesting. And he's okay, or at least out of the hospital, and things look to be trending in a good direction. And so because of that, and partly because of that, they were supposed to joint practice with Tennessee this week, canceled it ahead of their game with the Titans on the weekend. And then this morning or last night, I think it was Houston, who says they're too banged up. They don't want to now joint practice with the Saints, which was planned.
Right. And then the Jets canceled last week.
Yeah, the Jets, but that was one of
they should show up.
Nah, I think that was planned, somebody said, since March, that they weren't going to do it day 2. They were going to I don't know why.
That's weird.
I never read the full story, but I heard that it was planned since March. Now, it was kind of perceived like they never showed up.
Well, they should have told everybody that because they got
they got kind of crushed on it, right?
And like the way the videos looked on social media, the Bucs are like, what do we do?
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard that wrong, but I thought that's what I heard. So, are we going to, is this just like a little weird couple of days of joint practices, or these become now major concerns on top of everything else that is a concern?
Yeah, I know that you have to schedule it early out because you got to make arrangements for all that, but like you never know what's going to happen. And in the situation of the Patriots, I don't blame them for canceling. But if you're a team that is that banged up, I wouldn't want to do the joint practices either. So I know there's no real good answer there, but I feel like you got to kind of make decisions on these things closer out than whenever it was scheduled way back in, May or whenever they put it on the calendar.
Yeah, well, and a lot of these, I can tell you, because I've covered a lot of it now, a lot of these are, let's see when the owners' meetings are. I think a lot of decided around the owners' meetings time, which I believe is in March.
See,
that's where you'll get a lot of the conversation.
It's way
and
early.
Then they put some stuff. But here's the thing. You have to be early.
I know. You
logistically, right? I mean, Jags just stayed in a hotel for 5 days with like 150 people. Like, you can't just walk up one day and do that.
Try.
So now easier to cancel, so you can cancel it. So maybe we see more cancellations based on how coaches feel about their football team in the moment. I don't think you're going to see Doug do more than one in a preseason, but I think he really likes the one.
I think they're more valuable than the games. There's no doubt.
We had that. We were talking about that last week in Detroit. They felt like it was a good couple of days of work. Let me give you the week in Jacksonville. And I know some people are talking about the injuries. But, Kasey, 2 good days of work for the ones against another team. They don't play at all Saturday. And then your depth gets a ton of reps and showcased, I thought, quite a bit and really helped pave the way for some battles that might play out.
Yeah.
That's a great week for the coaching staff and the football team.
I thought it was a good week. I thought we learned a lot about them. I feel like everybody learned a lot about their team, the coaching staff, and all those things. It's just, there's no other way to put it. The games suck. Like I said this on OT, you give me 2 joint practices and 0 games. I know that's impossible. I get it. That's not what I'm saying. But you give me 2 joint practices through training camp and don't play in any of the games, send out your 5th string, whatever you got to do. That's more valuable to me than anything.
We're getting the tell on Doug, by the way. When he has a joint practice, which will probably be week 2 or week 3, I doubt they do this in a week 1 scenario of the preseason. He's not going to play his starters. But he is going to play his starters 2 out of the 3 games. I think that's what's interesting about the way how this schedule laid out. You could easily not play on Saturday night, but he wants to play him in 2 out of the 3 games.
What's interesting is now Mahomes has played twice, so I wonder if Andy Reid will sit him in the 3rd game and then go back to what Doug learned.
I think he will. I think he'll sit him in the 3rd game. I think he played 2 out of the 3. Last year, it just worked out that the joint practices was in the 3rd game, and so that felt like, the 3rd game, nobody's playing. Well, it's the 3rd game, they didn't play because they had the joint practices.
Yeah.
Not because it was the 3rd game. And really for the Jags, it was totally different because they had the Hall of Fame game too, so it was really the 4th game of the preseason.
True.
4 o'clock hour on the way. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. $10 to enter. See you at the Gun Show.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Wenner, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau. Check out Action Sports Jax weekdays from 3 until 6 on ESPN 690.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Michigan is self-imposing a 3-game suspension for football coach Jim Harbaugh to begin the 2023 season, stemming from alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. He'll miss home games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then return for the Big Ten opener against Rutgers. Following a couple of lively joint practices, the Commanders take on the Ravens in their second preseason game on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern ESPN. Lamar Jackson won't be playing tonight. This season should be a special one for Jackson and new offensive coordinator Todd Monken in Baltimore, ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark.
This team doesn't need to be one-dimensional, and I think that's the biggest thing you can get from Todd Monken. Make defensive coordinators guess, because what we knew since Lamar Jackson was a part of the Baltimore Ravens was that he was going to have the ball in his hands. He was going to be the focal point. If you stopped number 8, you had an opportunity to win. Todd Monken has to get out of that mindset, and he has the players in the skill room to do it.
Tonight's Reds-Angels game postponed due to the effects of Tropical Storm Hillary. Game will be made up as part of a doubleheader Wednesday.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS's PRP, platelet-rich plasma. PRP uses your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. That's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me. Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
You have a good weekend, Kasey?
It was fine, Brent.
Good. What are we doing? Anything exciting?
I worked.
Oh, baby. Keep working. Keep grinding.
Fishing show, Farrah's, sports cards.
That a baby.
That's what I got going.
A lot going on. I like that.
Yeah.
A lot going on. It's good, man. We are rocking and rolling in this football season. Good to be back home. I was away for like 10 days.
Yeah, it's great. 10 days?
Well, kind of like we did Dallas Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, you were here for like a day.
Then I had doctors on Monday, so I stayed home. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Detroit. Back at it. Yesterday in the studio. First time in a while in the Action Sports Jax studios.
Yeah, we missed you, buddy. Man.
Yeah, I bet.
What a week that was.
High school football starts on Friday. Might be back out for that. Fletcher Mandarin, our game of the week. Blitz Scoreboard Show fires up 9 o'clock on Friday night. Kevin Sullivan with us. Committed to the uncommitted. We got to tell you to get them in. Get your nominees in. It's that time. Seniors who are under-recruited, committed to the uncommitted. Football players, seniors that are under-recruited. Start sending them to me. Find us on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jax.
Won't be hard.
Email.
He tweets all the time.
Whatever it takes.
They'll probably come up in your profile.
I probably am I in your algorithm yet.
Well, now that you just said it, everyone that's listening, yes, one of your tweets will come up in their algorithm, whether
That's
they
good.
like it or not. Hey, question from earlier in the chat, and Delphonic just commented something else, made me think of it. Did you run into our buddy Jeff Risdon?
That's a good call. See, I'm down on the sideline, so I don't hang out in the press box. So on these preseason games, normally I'd be in the press box.
So were you waving at Jeff when he was in the press box, like, "Hi,
Wait,
hi, you bum"?
Honestly, all that stuff, and I kind of forgot about even looking for him, but I should have. That would have been good.
So you never saw him?
I didn't see him. Dang. Has the song hit the top of the charts yet?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it up there.
I was
yet.
a little disappointed in Aaron. He didn't push that out again over the weekend.
No.
You got to push your material out, man.
Yeah, it's a very weird dynamic. Like, he was sitting here, you know how he does? He, like, backed up into the corner of the room.
It's so bizarre.
And he, was, just cringing the whole time. I'm like, dude, you made it.
I know. Who's willing to make that? Like, Delphonic, when he makes, like, all these fun graphics and shares them, do you think he, like, doesn't want to look at who's going to respond to him? No, he embraces it.
True. It's a good point.
Hey, Aaron, if you're going to go record a production, embrace the results, enjoy the moment.
It's good.
Plus, like, we usually like them.
Yeah, that one was good. I was laughing.
I like them.
Yeah.
I'm easy. We'll see if we get more from Aaron.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long week anticipating this Jags-Dolphins game. It's going to be a longer 2 weeks in between to wait for the regular season.
Yeah, that's the tougher one.
Have we learned anything else about anyone in the National Football League this preseason?
San Francisco don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. Trey Lance is still mid. Purdy's still
Trey
not
actually
throwing,
played like his best game of his life.
and it was mid. Sam Darnold looks okay. I don't think they know what they're doing.
So you think there's really a mystery?
I think they're going to play Purdy, but I don't think they know for sure he's going to be good.
How about Tampa? Is it
if you ask
Mayfield?
Kyle Trask, it sounds like he knows what they're going to do. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw I saw a tweet where he was up on the podium. They like body language wise, it certainly appeared that they have already named Mayfield. The thing about that story is the guy that a lot of people say has been better than Trask and Mayfield is Johnny Wolford, and I know he just got hurt, and thankfully it looks like Johnny's okay.
Yeah.
But he got carted off the neck injury. He actually had a neck injury last year, too, with the Rams. So that is not good. John's an awesome story, and he's been really terrific when he's had his opportunities in the NFL. But it's like they're not even considering him in Tampa, and I'm talking pre-injury the other night. He's the guy that has been playing maybe the best, and they say understands the offense the most.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny thing sometimes that you don't play that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with looking at Trask. If it's close between Trask and Mayfield, I don't get why you wouldn't go Trask. I guess what people are saying a little bit of is you have to go with the veteran guy because it's a veteran football team.
I mean, there's that, and also his salary is much larger. It would be slightly odd if they didn't play him. Like, I think they should play Kyle Trask, but clearly I have some bias towards Kyle Trask. I think he's actually good. I think he's played well. I mean, there's a lot of clips of him throwing interceptions in practice, but who doesn't throw a couple interceptions from time to time? But in the games, he's been good. It's the reason that Kyle Trask didn't play in high school, and it's the reason that he didn't play in Florida until he had to. Maybe he's not great in practice, but when you put him in games, the dude performs. So I think they should play him, but I think they're riding with Baker to at least start. I don't think he makes it through the season, though.
Yeah, I think we're going to see multiple quarterbacks in Tampa. I think we're going to see multiple quarterbacks, honestly, in San Francisco. I haven't been watching a lot of other preseason games. I'm just wondering if there are any other stories that are being told from the preseason that were a little bit hyperbole in a sense too, right? Because we really have no idea, and we know better than putting too much stock in this time of year. And I think Jacksonville, by the way, I think everybody around here is doing a good job of that. Everybody knows they've got a pretty good football team, but Trevor throws a pick and the sky didn't fall right after that first series. And then you take the whole thing in context and you're cool with it. Injuries, I get, that's a different animal, but I'm just talking about the quality of play. We're not jumping to conclusions like, oh my gosh, Travis Etienne shouldn't be playing anymore. I think, it's more like, wow, Bigsby looks really good. This could be a nice 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if around other places they're jumping to conclusions. It's been a very good camp overall for the Jets, other than being able to block the quarterback, which looks like that could be a bit of a problem in New York. Is like, let's say Cleveland, Deshaun Watson. There's been very mixed reviews of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. But they ain't benching him.
But they're not benching him.
There's a couple of those spots, like Stetson Bennett was good again. They're not benching Stafford, but they might have found their post-Stafford.
He did throw a pick 6, too.
Yeah, still looked okay.
But other than that, pretty good.
I mean, people are very high on what Jordan Love has done. That looks like it might work in the preseason at least. That would be interesting. And then have you seen the smoke on Aiden O'Connell?
Yeah, he's been I don't really know much about that cat, but he's been playing really well.
He's been balling. Yeah, from Purdue. The stats have been really good. It's looked good on the field. Jimmy G, still not sure where that's at with the foot. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to play or anything, but it's something that nobody expected.
That'd be an interesting find.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one before I get to back to the Jacksonville part of the story that I want to go through that's linked in here. Anthony Richardson didn't play the other day. Are they making a mistake not playing him a little more? This dude has very little reps at the quarterback position at a high level of play, and that includes college. And they're just going to surprise everybody, I guess, against the Jags in September.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mistake. I would agree with you that he should be playing at least a half in these games just to kind of get his feet wet and understand the offense. But I think with a player like him, the element of surprise is a big part of it. Now, granted, I don't know if surprising one or maybe two teams is worth not playing in the preseason to understand your offense, because once you get to week 3, there's not really much more you can surprise somebody with. So I would give them the preseason reps, but if that's their move, that's their move. Like if Bryce Young is playing, Anthony Richardson should be playing.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? I don't get it. The element of surprise is great, but guess what else? Who could be surprised? Anthony Richardson.
True.
And that's one thing, like, listen, practice and camp is all fun, great, hunky-dory stuff. The regular season from the preseason is a different animal. It's a different beast. Not even close in terms of the intensity and everything else. So I just feel like this favors the Jags so much that it's scary in week 1.
I would agree with that.
You know?
But it's week 1.
You almost don't want to believe in something as much as you can believe in that game, because it's just everything's lined up for the Jags to win that game.
It'll be disappointing if it doesn't happen.
That'll be majorly disappointing. It might be like the most disappointing thing in the first half of the year that could happen.
On the field.
Yeah. No, I'm saying from a win-loss standpoint.
Okay, cool.
I mean, they lose to Kansas City. It's like, yeah, you can be mad all you want. They're Kansas City, right?
I'm just taking like injuries and stuff out.
I mean, Houston, again, would be right up there. I mean, that Indy-Houston game, those two games, any other games, I think in the first half of the year, you could say, okay, the Jags could lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, except maybe I could even see you saying the Indianapolis Colts could win the second game, because by then maybe Richardson's playing well, or they found a groove, or they're by the Jonathan Taylor stuff, or whatever else. But this opener especially, I mean, you couldn't have a more I'll even go a step further. I mean, we got weeks to talk about this. The way it lines up against the Colts in week 1, if the Jags were to lose that game, it might be the most disappointing opening season loss in franchise history.
Wow.
I just said that without looking.
Yeah, I mean, that's a statement, but
that was a no-look pass.
I don't know if it was completed. I don't
either.
But I don't know if you're wrong, though, because the Colts are not good.
And the Jags are. And they're playing a rookie quarterback who's hardly playing, who hardly played in college, who might not even be that good. We don't know yet.
All of those
This
things.
isn't the combine. You don't have to play Anthony Richardson at the combine.
Did you say this isn't the combine? That's cold, man. I mean, you're right, but it's cold. And we don't know if Jonathan Taylor's showing up.
We have no idea what's going on there. So I think this is just continuing to, I don't want to say pressure, but just say an amount that the Jags should win this game. And especially if they can go into that game healthy and get away with these next couple weeks. All right, that brings us a little bit of that conversation back to Jacksonville. And you know it's pretty good in Jacksonville when one of the main storylines coming out of a second preseason game is the Jags might be making a mistake in their backup quarterback spot. If I do a poll question right now,
oh boy,
my guess is the answer would be
Nathan Rourke.
Nathan Rourke.
Overwhelmingly.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
How much? How much overwhelming?
He will get 77% or more of the vote.
Really?
If the question is who should be the Jags QB2.
All right, I'm going to do it. You might need to talk a little bit about Nathan Rourke while
Gotcha.
I do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a strange thing because we've heard Doug Peterson say it. Obviously, we're going to talk about it, but there's nothing to gain here. Like, if you believe the head coach and if you believe C.J. Beathard's relationship with Trevor Lawrence and the comfortability that Trevor Lawrence has, then there's nothing for Nathan Work to actually earn. But if this guy goes out against Miami and plays more and does this again, I know Trevor's going to play more. They have to at least consider it, no?
No.
Okay. Cool.
I don't think they do. And I tweeted this, but I do believe this, and I believe part of it more than the other part. Listen, the fact that they're good buddies, whatever, that's one thing. There's been a lot of good buddies that haven't stayed together in the National Football League. It's bigger than that. It's the word continuity. It's exactly what Doug's been talking about for over a year. What's this quarterback going to do? What's this offense going to do when you're in the same system for a second year? So he tried to keep continuity. Wouldn't let Press Taylor go, remember? That's for continuity purposes. Did let Jim Bob Cooter go, but he's got Mike McCoy still. He's also got C.J. Beathard there. So Doug, C.J. Beathard, Press Taylor, Mike McCoy. That is a same group that is having conversations over Fruit Loops in the morning, coffee late at night, about the quarterback, about the offense, about the playbook, about what they see. And so that's called continuity more than friendship. And I think that is important. I think that's very important to Doug. I don't even know if Trevor needs it at this point. Like, I think he's such an advanced player, and he's smart enough player, and he's got the grip of things right now. I'm not telling you that he even needs it to perform well. But they're certainly not going to break that barrier. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, it really makes a lot of sense to me. You got the third quarterback rule that obviously opens the door for some other things. The other part is, I'm telling you, I was just at breakfast/lunch, and I got the guy at Cafe Genovese saying, but Rourke, look what he's doing. Like, the guy's like losing his mind over the fact that they think Beathard's going to be the backup instead of Rourke. I'm like, settle down. We're talking about the backup quarterback, really the third quarterback, and on top of that, he hadn't even played against a starter yet. Like, you can argue he hasn't even played against a two yet. He's playing against third-teamers.
Yeah, he's cooking, though.
And I think he's done a nice job. I mean, the young man's done a nice job. It looks like he can play. But I think we're getting a little carried away. Beathard, I thought Beathard was a bit disappointing on Saturday. I thought he was really good in practice against the Lions, for whatever that's worth. Now, what this guy at the restaurant said was, well, he's only playing with 3s and 2s as well. Like, yeah, that's fair. But he's only playing with who he's got. The bottom line is, if Nathan Rourke ever has to enter the game, and quite frankly, if Beathard has to enter the game, not feeling too good anyway.
Yep.
So why not keep continuity in everything else? But it is interesting that he's caught the attention. And again, we're with the Canadian station again in Detroit, and he's their guy, and he's following him around. It's like the only guy they care about. But they're talking to him, and they bring up a great stat. It's like 8 drives without the kneel downs and victory formation. 8 drives, he's engineered 4 touchdowns. One of the drives the other night didn't even have a third down in it. I mean, he's really moving the offense.
It's crazy.
I just don't know if I'm in love with it as much as everyone else is. I feel like this is a story I used to be in love with more, but maybe I'm getting old.
Well, also, there's, for the first time in a hot minute, like, he's not playing. Like, you know that person can never play.
Yeah.
Like, even when, I mean, recent history, when Gardner was here, obviously, that was, who knows. When Blake was here, for the most part, Blake was locked in, but if this kid was cooking, you never know. And then just keep going back, and you probably can find a way that he could get into the game somehow. But there's no scenario where that were to happen now.
Pat Drinks brings up something that's pretty interesting. He said both, and yeah, both is a possibility here for the Jags. If you need the backup to go in, send the one whose skill set matches the game situation. Would think Rourke may be favorable if you're trying to come back. CJ may be better at retaining a lead. I didn't even think about it like that, but that's a good call. That's a good thought. Like, I don't mind that. And It's a fun storyline because he's made it one. Like, this is what this time of year is all about. These guys make you think. Seth Williams has made the receiving room think about him. Jacob Harris, Elijah Cooks, because they're making plays. Nathan Rourke is no different. He's done a nice job with their offense. He's proven to be able to move the offense, make throws. Looks like he has a tremendous feel for the game. And I'll tell you what else. Looks like guys are making plays for him. That's a great attribute for a quarterback. So
he certainly looks better because of all the depth they have at wide receiver and tight end.
Yeah, that's a good call,
running
too.
back and all that.
Yeah, didn't think about it like that. I mean, yeah, he's played with Dearness Johnson, right? And guys like Cooks, who's wowing people. And however he lists the, keep naming. Like, again, I think the 88, the Oliver Martin kid, has done a nice job for the Jags. Seems like he catches everything. They've got a nice little connection going late in games. So it's just a fun storyline for the Jags. I'm not in the camp of he should supplant C.J. Beathard. Beathard is a 29-year-old guy who's been around the league for 7 years, has been in different offenses. He knows what the league looks like. He might be able to communicate things to Trevor that we don't even know exist. And I think there is a value in that. I think there's a reason why Chad Henne was a good quarterback to back up Patrick Mahomes.
Clearly.
Do you think there's better quarterbacks than Chad Henne? Clearly. Yeah. That they could have got to back up Patrick Mahomes. They didn't go get the best quarterback. So it just depends how you do it. If you have a marginal quarterback situation, let's just say Washington, Sam Howell, you would like a guy that can play as a backup.
Like Jacoby Brissett.
You might need to lean on it. Mm-hmm. If you have Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts and others, you really kind of feel like if you have to go to that guy, the drop-off is immense no matter what. So other things start to matter.
Yeah, and then Chad Henne goes in, and they go 91 yards.
98,
98 yards, whatever.
Should have thrown the pick. But
how does it work if they keep the third quarterback for the new rule, do they have to clear waivers? Does everyone get a shot if you're making that person your third quarterback?
It's a good question, and I wanted to look at let's look at how they identify the rule this year, because I've almost looked this up 100 times, so we'll all do it together.
Because it feels like if there's waivers involved, and if you look at the other quarterbacks that are making names for themselves in the league right now that are back, DTR, Stetson Bennett, Aiden O'Connell, I don't know if they're ever actually going to make it to waivers because of where those teams are set. But Nathan Rourke might.
Yeah, so the idea behind this, of course, we know is San Francisco, right?
Mm-hmm. The Josh Johnson situation where Christian McCaffrey had to come in after Josh Johnson got hurt, after Brock Purdy got hurt, and then they had to run Wildcat in a playoff game.
Yeah, so this headline right here on this rule says projecting every team situation. They're just trying to break down the backup quarterbacks. Let me go to a better version of this rule. Just to make sure we've got it right.
Pico brings up an interesting point in the chat. If waivers are involved, Nathan Rourke getting claimed before a C.J. Beathard in terms of what other teams are looking for. Which of those guys could get claimed first? If you had to try to sneak one through.
That's a good question. I still think Beathard would get claimed.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know if anybody's looking for Nathan Rourke to be like their start. Everybody's got, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to have a Nathan Rourke. The Raiders seem like they've got their Nathan Rourke. Name your team, and they go deep enough to be like their guy's playing pretty well. Give me a situation where Nathan Rourke would be
somebody's backup. If you're a team that...
I like the question.
The Giants. You just pay Daniel Jones, but if Daniel Jones gets hurt, this guy can move. We're not sure how well he can actually throw it, but it's a similar style of offense. I would say Atlanta, but they've got Heineke, but he is Heineke.
He does feel like Heineke.
He's
Minshew almost like
in a
built
sense.
And looks like him.
So, if Drew Lock, would you rather have Drew Lock or Nathan Rourke?
Yeah, they're going to say Drew Lock.
I hate Drew Lock, so I would say Nathan Rourke.
But they will say Drew Lock because he's been in the system there for a bit. You know what I mean?
The Rams use Easton Stick as their backup.
Yeah, I was looking, and he played okay, didn't he?
Nah, I think Rourke is a better version of Easton Stick.
Okay. That might be one.
What is happening in Arizona? Are they seriously going to run out there with Colt McCoy? Because Nathan Rourke does a little bit of what Kyler does.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's going to start. That's a little much. I'm just saying, you need, or at least there's some comfortability with that with Taylor Heineke.
I like the question, and I guess my gut tells me that we know what CJ Beathard is as a player, much like people learned about Henne after the Miami and Jacksonville experiment. I just am not convinced teams are going to go get Rourke in that situation. I don't know if he's good enough. If you want that kind of player, then you maybe trade for Minshew because you know he's got experience, can play, somebody like that. I don't know. That's a great question. Maybe it's a half and half split. Maybe it's more Rourke. Why not buy low and see what you got?
I just think that you probably have a CJ Beathard as your backup if you are another team. The guy that if he comes in, he can manage the situation, has been in the league. Those guys exist. That's the backup quarterback. Rourke might have just a little bit of that. This is kind of interesting.
Let me give you this. Are the Patriots better off getting Rourke or having Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham?
Zappi.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right? He's played. He's been in it. Again, comfortability with the system. Again, fair question. I know what fans are going to say. And again, we're doing a poll right now. And who would you rather, even in Jacksonville? And I know where it's going. We all understand it. I'm just telling you, I think the teams don't think like a fan on this topic. And experience matters, and in the room matters, and here's another problem with this. This is hard to articulate sometimes, and I think this was a little bit of a Minshew deal too. And Minshew might have to even now settle into this. Some of these guys, they want to play. They're trying to prove themselves in the game. They think they're good enough to play. So Rourke might be, as a young guy, still trying to make it. He thinks he's as good as anybody, which, by the way, he should. That's good. You should have the confidence. CJ Beathard now knows, I'm a backup. So sometimes I think that's a valuable thing to a football team, to take the guy who knows his role more than the guy that's actually trying to steal the job still.
Yes and no.
Because you can get a little, crazy in that role. And that doesn't always mix well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if that was a little bit of it even with Minshew. We asked the question, is he going to take to the backup role to a Trevor Lawrence? I think it's one of the reasons they probably moved him out of here. They were unsure. He thinks he can play. He thinks he got screwed and didn't play enough the year prior.
Well, that was true.
And wants to play. Give me a chance to go play. And by the way, you might get that with Rourke. Who knows who his agent is and everything else? You might get a situation where they ask to be moved. Because they're okay, if you're going to keep I'm stuck as the number 3 guy, I'm never playing here, go put me in a situation where I can at least get an opportunity.
Bro, if he asked to leave the team, that would be a wild turn of events. I'll give you one, though. I don't know if you saw this.
I don't think that's that uncommon.
Mike White appears to be hurt. What would you rather have in Miami? Rourke or Skylar Thompson?
I'd take Rourke.
Behind Tua, who's guaranteed to miss a game at least.
But you know why I take Rourke in part is because it's the unknown. As much as you think you know what Rourke is after 2 games, they are against third-string guys in a preseason. Still very much unknown at how he would do if he were to go into a game with the Miami Dolphins.
Boy, if he can just throw it up.
But I'm saying that's what's intriguing to us. I want to see it.
But
right?
that's what I'm saying.
Because I know what Skylar Thompson is. He's just a guy.
Right, and that's, I think, the point of the whole thing. You know what Beathard is. If you claim him, you know exactly what you're getting. If you're trying to sneak one of them through waivers, you know exactly what you're getting. There's unknown with Rourke.
Okay, but again, this is where I say, fans and me speaking into a microphone want to see the unknown, want to see the new blood, want to see what it would look like. Organizations want to know what they know.
Unless you're an organization trying to lose, and they're like, all right, we're going to try this thing out, like Arizona.
All right, so here's some, just so we're all on the same page with it. League allows teams to dress a third quarterback for emergency purposes. If he entered the game before the start of the fourth quarter, the other 2 could not return. Eventually, the league allowed teams to dress a 46 player without regard to position, which people are saying that never left. Now the league has brought back the third quarterback rule, giving teams the power to designate a roster spot for an extra signal caller. There are 2 catches. First, the player must be on the 53-man roster. He can't be called up from the practice squad.
So you got to keep him.
So you got to keep 3 quarterbacks. Second, the third quarterback can play only if the other two are injured or ejected. If one of the injured quarterbacks is cleared to return, the third quarterback must exit. So this is like a true emergency situation. But you've got to create a roster spot. Those roster spots, man. A team full of depth already going to be hard cuts. Are you keeping 6 wide receivers or are you keeping Nathan Rourke?
6 wide receivers.
Yeah. Very interesting. That'll be an interesting part of the cuts. Could they make a trade? Get a 6th-round pick for them.
Oh, my.
Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Trevor Gibbs. Quiet weather continues this evening. Temperatures cooling through the 80s into the 70s overnight before hot temperatures on the way for Tuesday. Mostly sunny skies, so it'll be a dry and nice day, but warm temperatures in the lower to middle 90s. The warmest will be away from the coast. We'll have an onshore wind continuing the next several days, quite gusty at times Wednesday into Thursday. A few showers will be possible Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, mostly dry weather continues through the end of the week. Temperatures warming up again by the weekend. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Trevor Gibbs.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. For a limited time, get 5 years, 0 interest, only at Beards Diamonds.
As founder of Talon Wealth, what is Mike Lester keeping an eye on?
Once we do see a big pullback, then we want to be prepared to pivot over to more traditional portfolios that go up when markets go up. So we think we're going to see a pullback in the economy and then also in markets, but then we're going to get an opportunity to move back into more traditional investments. And to us at Talon Wealth, that's what active management is about. Worrying about these ups and downs in markets so clients don't have to, and it's also doing our best to navigate it.
Visit guardingyournestegg.com to better understand your options.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Make an impact for our youth by getting involved with the Sponsor a Champion program at the Malavia Washington Youth Foundation. Call 904-359-5437 for more information. Again, that's 904-359-KIDS.
There are 16 spots in the playoffs and just one track left. Well, not just any track.
We're basically going to have to win.
Daytona. A last chance to keep playoff hopes alive.
1 point to the good.
And for fans to experience an event unlike any other. Yeah! NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 25th and 26th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Be ready for anything on the road or off the road this summer at Nimnik Buick GMC. Car Bravo is here, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnik Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Are you looking for a used car under $20,000? Check out Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway or NimnikBuickGMC.com. Want an oil change from the comfort of your living room? Check out NimnikBuickGMC.com. Mobile oil changes with Nimnik GMC. We are professional grade.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Denise is a Pilates instructor and a small business owner.
And a mom, too.
And at Community First, we get that. We get you.
So you can just be yourself.
To get the financial services you need, learn more at communityfirstfl.org. Member NCUA.
Nothing slows my little girl down.
except a stuffy nose.
Mommy.
That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
You don't even like your quarterback.
Kasey Kuhrts.
You don't even like your team.
And Aaron Schachter.
I don't even like myself, guys. Do you know me?
On Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends on a Monday. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts, Jags back at work.
So are we.
And so are we. I like these Saturday games, although Saturday felt like Sunday. But I like it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just okay.
Just all one big day.
Basically.
Early returns on the poll question. Who
Not
would you
looking so
like
good.
to be the backup?
For me, at least.
What's that?
Not looking so good for me, at least.
You said 77%. This
Yeah.
is a little surprising so far. 218 votes in, just 20 minutes in, which means I'm back.
Jeez.
Rourke, 58%. Beathard, 42%.
I'm surprised.
A smart fan base, savvy fan base.
Look at
I
that.
think outside the box, not just the mirage of 2 games. It sounds like I'm rooting against Rourke. I'm not really. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is, and I guess that's what I've learned over the couple of decades of covering this. I mean, it's just so different. And I've even said that I was waiting for these. That's why I'm so impressed with the receivers. I've been waiting for the receivers to kind of like flop.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it'd be easier if one of them digs. You'd be like, all right, we got it.
But usually what happens is you get some guys shining on the practice field and then they flop on the game field.
Right.
That's just natural, and maybe it's circumstantial. Maybe it's just bad luck, but it happens. It happens a lot. It's not happening. Can you even think of a guy who's played like just terrible in the games so far, these 2 games?
No. I mean, no. Cam didn't play well on
I know
Saturday.
Cam didn't play well
But he
Saturday.
played, he was, the other week, whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know, like
awful?
They're not putting the ball on the ground. I mean, Snoop Connor put the ball on the ground 2 weeks ago. Like, he was okay, not bad the
Snoop's
other day.
getting cut. Like,
I think the Ernest Johnson's worth more of conversation. Their running back room in general is
can we just
really strong.
Should we start with because I'm counting Snoop out. You don't have to, but I am.
No, I would agree with you.
Can they keep all 4 of them?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't.
They got a lot of depth everywhere else. You don't know DaVon Hamilton's situation. You got to keep somebody else there. Are they keeping an extra corner?
I think they'll want to keep some extra linemen. How's this break up? I'm not to my 53-man yet, but let's just say you go 25 offensive guys. Let's go start there. You got 3 specialists, 25 and 25. Could change a little bit, but you go 2 quarterbacks I think they're going to keep.
All right. So
I think they're going to keep 6 receivers.
8.
4 tight ends.
12.
4 running backs.
16.
And you can keep 9 linemen. And I think that's what they usually want to do is keep 9 linemen.
Do they have 9 linemen at this point?
Well, and maybe that's a thing. Like, that could be a fluctuating position between I don't think they're getting rid of a tight end because I don't think they're going to use the fullback, and I think they'll put a tight end back there instead. See, that's another guy I think who's been pretty good, Brenton Strange.
Yeah.
He looks the part. You know what he doesn't look like? A rookie. He kind of blends in.
Yeah, I give you that.
Like he's been there for a while. I really like him. Him and Bigsby to me have been the most impressive. Am I missing somebody in the rookie? Well, Harrison's been good when called upon. But he's expected to be good. I don't know the expectation on a guy like Brenton Strange. People are a little surprised they picked him. I think, in round 2. Bigsby people are hyped about. And then after that, you're going to get a mix, right? I mean, you can get the Abdullahs of the world to the Laces of the world to Antonio Johnson's out for right now. But I've been pleasantly surprised with the consistency, playmaking, how good they look, blend in, natural fit, whatever you want to say, about Bigsby and Brenton Strange. They just don't look like rookies to me. They look like they've been around for a bit, which is a good sign. So if they keep 4 running backs, Dearness Johnson has a spot.
I'm with you.
He was good the other day.
He was. But I don't know how you're getting him on the field.
Well,
other than special teams.
Yeah, special teams.
I'm not giving up.
Thing.
I'm not giving up on Hasty because it feels like every time Hasty's in there, he does something productive, even if it's just blocking somebody. But like, and again, I know it wasn't a banner day for JaMychal Hasty on Saturday, but when a couple times he was in there, I was like, yeah, like he does his job. Like, that's what he does.
And he does a hidden job that people never talk about, and that's protection.
Right.
So on third downs, like, you like him in there. He knows how to do it. He's good at it. He's a veteran guy at it. And he can catch out of the backfield and show wiggle and speed. So, I mean, there's plenty of reasons. I think JaMychal Hasty's on it. Like, I think it's clear to me the top 3 backs on this roster are ETN, Bigsby, and Hasty.
I would agree with that.
I actually believe, though, Dearness Johnson has a place.
Yeah, I think in a weird way, Dearness Johnson, if somebody were to get hurt, not JaMychal Hasty, but one of the other two, I think Dearness Johnson would have more of a value in the actual running game than JaMychal Hasty. I think JaMychal Hasty's role would stay consistent throughout, and then if someone were to get hurt, if something were to happen with ETN, like last year where he went out and started the game but then really missed all of the game, I think that's where you see a Dearness Johnson jump up because they have that depth now, and then you can leave Hasty in his role, which clearly they could not do last year. They had to have Hasty do everything when Travis went out those couple of games.
Yeah, interesting. Let's go back to Bigsby for a minute because he's a fun guy to talk about. I didn't expect this from him. I really didn't. I had no expectation for Bigsby. I get the fans were excited about it, and fans, you are right. If you were one of those, they were excited about him because he looks really good. Like, I texted some people on Saturday, like, this guy is good. And I told you last week, did you see a little bit more Leonard Fournette in him?
Still no.
You don't see it.
I don't.
I looked at it again. I was like, Brent, you're right.
Oh, that's
I was
good.
applauding myself.
Nice.
I see Fournette. And you know what I wonder? Fournette was 7. He was 7 in college, wasn't he?
Yeah. 7.
Yeah. I was wondering, I was like, I don't know, did he wear 4 in college? Is that why I see it?
I see it a little bit, but I feel like Fournette is very distinct.
Do you really?
Like, I feel like if Fournette's run the ball, you're like, that's Leonard Fournette. I don't know fully what it is or why, but like when I watched it, I was like, maybe.
Delphonic, if you got some extra time, put Bigsby's number on Fournette. And Fournette, Bigsby's number on, and see if we can see any difference.
All right, good luck with that. By the way, Delphonic did just ask you a question about the linebacker position. Last year they kept 4. Do you think they're still keeping 4? Because that basically comes down to
they're definitely keeping 4.
So then,
Ventrell Miller. You're asking me, do they keep 5?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm asking if they stay at 4 or technically Delphonic.
I'm just gonna be fully honest with you. I haven't done the crunching of numbers, so I believe at this stage where that linebacking unit is, that's gonna be a hell of a hard cut. I think it's a hard cut at 5. Forget about 4. So I would say they're going to keep 5.
You're putting Caleb Johnson in there?
I don't know who I'm putting in. I think it's too early to tell on Caleb Johnson or Quarterman.
If you're saying it's a hard cut at 5, you're throwing Caleb Johnson into that, is what I'm saying.
No, the 5 would be Muma, Lloyd, Foye, Ventrell Miller.
Yep.
And
Shaq. Right. So your last one is between Shaq and Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think Caleb Johnson is popping. But I think Shaq, they trust him. I think they like that veteran presence in there helps. Could be wrong. Like Caleb Johnson's actually been around for a bit now, too. So, but to get to 4, I'll have to go through some of the numbers where they would have to take away.
The problem is they got a lot in the secondary they want to keep. I
know.
think.
Hey, listen, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Back to Bigsby for one more moment. Does his preseason performance, especially when he got a heavier workload the other day, change the way you think about how he will be used? How much he will be used?
No.
ETN still
got to be.
right? I'm an ETN guy here. And it's not that I'm not a Bigsby guy, but I still think ETN gets a ton of the workload and should get a ton of the workload. But it's hard to ignore what this young man is doing. It's not the power game that's got you. He's elusive. Foye Oluokun brought it up a couple weeks ago. This guy has a vision. And by the way, he might have better vision than, that's maybe noticeable. Maybe even better vision than ETN. In terms of decisiveness to make the cuts. Again, games may be a shade slower when he's in there because of working against the twos and other things. But I wonder if you're going to have a hard time keeping Bigsby off the field.
I think we're going to get to week 3, and we're going to be like, oh, that's right. Travis Etienne's really good.
And I'll say this. I believe Etienne is very good. I'm a huge fan of his ability to play. Kasey, how about this? Can I sign you up for Bigsby in the backfield and putting Etienne in the slot sometimes? Or that H-back kind of position?
You could before we had 8 wide receivers that we're not sure who's getting cut. So who are you taking off at this point? You taking Kirk off?
I know, but that's a matchup, man. I mean, you might be able to get those kind of matchups in there.
Taking Ingram off? I'm not taking Ingram off.
It could give him a breather in a moment like that, though. Go 5 wide. Actually, then you wouldn't have Bigsby in.
Right. Taking Zay off? I don't want to take Zay off.
I don't know.
But
I think you can get really creative with this. And I would like to see a couple of packages with both backs in there. I don't recall we saw that very much with James Robinson and ETN last year because I wondered if we would.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't mind seeing Bigsby and ETN in the game at the same time. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Or, hear me out on this, you get Hasty and Tank in the backfield. You got Travis in the slot. You don't know what's happening. Get Agnew on the other side.
I was going to say, get Agnew move to the backfield. Heck, they'll put Christian Kirk in the backfield. I mean, Doug's going to have a hell of a lot of fun this fall.
A lot of options.
He's just playing a video game. He's just got to make the right call.
True.
Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Touch a Truck is back. Join ESPN 690 for this free family fun event this Saturday morning at the Brooks Family YMCA. Kids get a first-hand view of fire trucks, police cars, cement trucks, school buses, and even a helicopter. And you can donate school supplies to the YMCA's after-school program. Touch a Truck is presented by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks, Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company, CGC Water Treatment, and Arlington Toyota. Join us for Touch a Truck this Saturday starting at 8 a.m.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Frank, you got to come see my new windows from American Window Products. They're beautiful and they keep the house so cool.
Oh, slow down, Jim.
No, Frank. American Window Products is having a sale right now, and you said you wanted a locally owned business with qualified products and professional installers. Well, American Window Products has all that and more.
More?
Yes, selection and great prices at American Window Products.
Whoa, what's that number?
731-2247, a family-owned business since 1981. Check them out at AmericanWindowProducts.com. Call them, Frank.
I'm calling American Window Products right now, Jim.
The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. $10 to enter. See you at the Gun Show.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call now for your free evaluation and see if multi-unit hair grafting or PRP can restore your hair. Call 904-777-IHRS.
My bald spots are gone. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS is the only clinic in the Southeast to offer all proven solutions to restore your hair and is now offering multi-unit hair grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair.
I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
Jaguars football is right around the corner. After an exciting playoff run last season, optimism is at an all-time high. Tailgaters is right across the street from Everbank Stadium, offering clean, permanent restrooms, food options, a full liquor bar, and all parking spots are on well-kept grass lots. Every game at Tailgaters is a championship experience. Demand is high following last year's historic season, so spaces are very limited. Secure your parking today at tailgatersparking.com. If you wait, you're going to miss out. tailgatersparking.com.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
At the Home Depot, we know pros want to be ready for whatever the job site has in store. That's why the Home Depot app is made for pros who don't miss a beat. So you can power your jobs with rentals to get the tools, trucks, and equipment you need fast. And Pro Extra benefits to keep your business growing. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jax on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at BrentASJax. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Hey, did you see the Yankees lost a few in a row?
I saw it made you happy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm very conflicted because
okay,
I've told you this. It's a very tough situation. I don't even feel right, like, kind of making fun of the Yankees because, I mean, Travis Chapman's going to be out of a job. Like, they're all getting fired.
Yeah, they're all getting fired. Goodbye. Sorry.
Which I hope it's a multi-year contract for Travis and gets to come back home, spend time with the fam, and still get paid. So that would be nice.
Yeah.
It ain't his fault. That's all I'll say. He's coaching first. But what does happen in New York? Boone and Cashman out or just one?
Both. Got to start over. Got to get rid of guys.
Whoa.
Got to pay money to get rid of guys.
That's why you got to be careful texting and tweeting it while you're talking. Boone can turn into some other things.
Oh, I use that a lot. Yeah, they all got to go. You got to pay money to get rid of Stanton. You got to pay money to get rid of Donaldson. You got to. I don't want to say you got to pay to get rid of Rondon because he's only pitched like 2 games, but that's a disaster already. I mean, you got to get the majority of the players that are playing every day need to go away, even if that means paying other teams to take them. LeMahieu's got to go.
What's the rest of their farm like? Obviously, Volpe, right? It's supposed to be good.
No, it's not supposed to be. It's great. Those guys need to play.
So they just rode this thing out.
They're just
I'm a little surprised, like Cashman and see what happens usually when you're about to lose your job in sports is you'll try to do something pretty dramatic that will maybe convince the owner that, hey, if this works, look what we found. It might have been a little late, but look what we found.
I don't think that's over yet. I think that
there's
idea.
40 games left.
No. Yeah. Well, yes, but. All of their guys are in AA. That's their AA team could borderline beat the Athletics right now. I would take them. I don't care what the money line would say.
So could you and I and 7 others, but I get you.
Yeah. So I think how many days are in this month? 31. So I think in 10, 11 days when the roster expands by 2, I think if they're comfortable, they're going to go get like 2 of those guys, maybe Dominguez, and try that method.
Yeah, I think they need to try it. And I don't know if it would save them.
I don't think it will.
I think listen, Cashman's done an amazing job overall. It's run its course, man.
Has he done an amazing job?
Well, I mean, he's got him in the playoffs every year. The problem is the standard is so high.
Right.
Now, he hasn't won enough, but, I mean, he goes way back now. I mean, if you go put his whole resume together, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And one that, like, if I'm vouching for Cashman, if I'm a big Cashman fan, you put the whole resume together, it's not really like a fireable resume.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm not sure anybody else has it.
I mean, when you take they drafted Judge, and to be honest, they got lucky. The Judge ended up what he was.
Okay, but even if they've built the farm system, then they're doing something correct.
True.
Right? So, but I think they have totally mismanaged the last decade when it comes to knowing how to win in Major League Baseball.
It's true.
And that starts with him. They don't know how to win.
No idea.
They have no idea how to win a World Series anymore. Their formula is not working. And then this year, I think just the fact they kept everybody to kind of run it back
was stupid
was
because they weren't
so
good.
dumb. Was so dumb. And just on the simple way, if you thought you were going to get 61 homers out of Judge and 154 games played out of the 162,
wasn't going to happen.
You know that isn't happening.
And then when everybody needed bullpen help, you sat on the only thing that was good and you didn't move them.
Yeah.
They could have moved Clay. They could have moved Canely. They could have moved all those guys, and they didn't. Which to me is enough to get fired.
And I don't have a good feel for Steinbrenner as this Steinbrenner. You know, totally different than
oh, they would have
George
had
Steinbrenner.
They would have
right?
had 8 managers.
Absolutely.
Since.
But the fact that you can't hit and you're the Yankees, I think, is a major problem for me. That is a major problem that the New York Yankees can't hit. And that would that would make me so salty as the owner that I'd be like, we got to get rid of this. And you can't blame anybody else anymore.
Yeah.
Boone's gone. I think Cashman's got to be gone.
They should.
It's just pretty wild, man. They can't win.
You heard the name is floating around?
No.
Theo?
I would hate him if he did it, but it would be the smartest move the Yankees could make. That guy's freaking a genius when it comes to building a roster.
You'd hate him, huh?
Yes.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, we have no respect for rivalries if Epstein were to go to New York.
All right.
Football at 5 coming up next on ESPN 690. Be ready for anything on the road or off the road this summer at Nimnick Buick GMC. Car Bravo is here, a better way to shop used vehicles with transparent pricing. Nimnick Buick GMC has joined the Car Bravo family and is the only Car Bravo dealer in Northeast Florida. Are you looking for a used car under $20,000? Check out Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway or NimnickBuickGMC.com. Want an oil change from the comfort of your living room? Check out NimnickBuickGMC.com. Mobile oil changes with Nimnick GMC. We are professional grade.
Jay is a foodie and a chef.
I'm a food truck owner with dreams of something bigger.
And at Community First, we get that. And we get you. We were founded over 88 years ago to help members live their best lives by providing the financial services they need. Today, that includes digital banking, great rates, and local decision-making.
So just be yourself.
At Community First and on the go. Learn more at communityfirstfl.org. Member NCUA.
Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder? Maybe it's pain in your hip or back. Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice now and call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. 904-274-5522. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicine. They're helping people here every day with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. It's like turning back the clock. Oh, that would be nice. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to. And there's zero downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough. Patients here are getting real lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and no to drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. The consultation is free. Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522.
too.
Are you stressed out trying to create the right digital marketing? You need to contact Cox Media Group Local Solutions, Jacksonville. April Davis here. They've been helping businesses for more than 10 years, so they can help you market across social media, search engines, display ads, Amazon, and more. If you need expert digital advice, make sure you call the experts helping businesses with digital marketing for a decade at 904-454-2648. Keyword April. Call 904-454-2648. Keyword April.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Michigan is self-imposing a 3-game suspension for football coach Jim Harbaugh to begin the 2023 season, stemming from alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. He'll miss home games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then return for the Big Ten opener against Rutgers. Monday Night Football tonight. Ravens Commanders, 8 Eastern, ESPN. Plenty of excitement this season about a Baltimore team led by former league MVP Lamar Jackson and with a revamped offense. But don't sleep on the Commanders this season. They could emerge as a surprise NFC contender, says Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
When you look at this roster, top to bottom, this is one of the best rosters in the NFL. Remember, they were a top 5 defense from a year ago. They were that good. I think they were the 3rd-ranked total defense in the National Football League. That's pretty damn good. I mean, think about it. You got a really good receiving corps. You got 2 solid running backs in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Tonight's Reds-Angels game postponed due to the effects of Tropical Storm Hillary. Game made up as part of a doubleheader Wednesday.
What's going on, everybody? This is Freddie Coleman, and coming up, is Jordan Love destined to be the next great Packers quarterback? That and more beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
The Dell Technologies Back to School event is on, with deals on top tech for class, hobbies, and more. Now, when you buy, you support a cause. With every eligible purchase, Dell will donate to UNICEF in support of GIGA, a UNICEF ITU global initiative to connect schools across the globe to the internet. Accidental damage protection included. Get rare deals on select laptops and desktops powered by the latest Intel Core processors. Save now at Dell.com/deals. UNICEF does not endorse any company, brand, product, or service.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
We're getting a little punchy around here, people. It's been a lot in a row.
I would love to punch you guys.
Ow! It really hit me.
Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, and Kasey Kuhrts. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, football at 5 we go. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts, Aaron Schachter back at it the next couple of days. We think.
We don't.
I just never know. People are going to just disappear and never show up again to the show.
That did happen.
That did happen once.
I called Aaron today, and because we were supposed to talk about something, and he's like, it was so weird. It sounded like he answered the phone in his pocket. He was like, "Hey, I'll call you back." I was like, "Okay," and then I never heard from him again. I still haven't heard from him, so I don't know what happened.
Daddy duty threw him off,
I guess. But anyway,
Shrimper on the road again.
Columbus.
We got early games this week. So no game on a Monday, of course. No overtime tonight. No overtime really the rest of the week, maybe until Friday.
Maybe Friday. But, yeah, the Shrimper are going at 6:15, which means coverage is going to start at 6.
Yeah, 6 o'clock games. That's kind of weird for this time of year. That's in Columbus? They're playing Columbus?
Yes.
I don't know why that is.
Clippers, I think. Maybe not.
I think that is right.
Still Columbus.
So we have a lot going on this week. We have the Blitz Scoreboard Show. Also have Jaguars All Access coming up on TV on Thursday. We'll do that for 1 week. Then we take the next week off, and then we go every Thursday after that.
Okay.
Might have got a big commitment for that show for a couple of appearances today.
Ooh.
I won't tell you yet until it's signed.
It's a good one, though.
But, yeah, we're basically rotating guests for Mondays, Jags Report Live at Sneakers, and Thursdays, Jaguars All Access at Strings. So those are the 2 TV shows we have guests for, live audiences, so come on out to both. But we're rotating through players instead. Like last year, Josh Allen did every week and brought a guest, or prior to that, it was like Calais Campbell did it, I think everybody remembers. And so now we're doing 3 or 4 shows for each guy. So we're trying to get more guys into the in the loop. More work for me. I'm going to be an agent someday.
Are you?
I'm going to be a booking agent someday.
It feels like you're spending your best years doing this, though.
Yes, that's right.
So
I'm good. I don't know if I'm a good negotiator. I'm a pretty good negotiator with other people's money.
Yeah.
I'm not paying. But anyway, we have some good guests lined up. Now, I do need DaVon Hamilton to get healthy for the Jags purposes, but also our show purposes. He is scheduled to make a few appearances on Monday's Jags Report Live.
Ooh.
That one has been confirmed.
Nice.
But I don't need any injuries and back injuries.
Yeah.
If you're just catching up, by the way, the report or update from Coach Peterson this morning is better news for DaVon Hamilton. I said at the top of the show, just try to take everybody through what happened Saturday, where I saw DaVon and he was not moving well at all. Like, ginger is the word we use when we say somebody's not moving swiftly because of an injury. And I would, whatever the exclamation point after gingerly is, I would use for DaVon Hamilton. So much so that I thought he shouldn't have been on crutches, but should have been in a wheelchair instead.
Crazy.
Just to help him move because he wasn't going anywhere. So we've gone from that Saturday afternoon in Detroit to a Monday morning update from Doug Peterson that he had just received a text like earlier in the morning to say, hey, he's doing better on the road to recovery, whatever this non-football related back injury is. And that's where we're at. No timetable whatsoever. Some updates on other guys like Foley Fatukasi, cautionary boot, not going to play this week. Everything we hear, and even Doug updating a bit, should be on track to play week 1 for the Jags. Anton Harrison, going to have to wrestle through that shoulder injury, but nothing that's going to shelf him. He will actually play on Saturday against Miami Dolphins with the ones. Cooper Hodges, patella injury, which can be very bad, but there's also different patella injuries from what I understand that you can play through, and maybe it's like a strain instead. And apparently some of the good word on Hodges because he hasn't been ruled out for any extensive period of time yet. They really like Cooper Hodges. Like really, really like Cooper Hodges. It might have been the find of the draft class.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought about it.
Well, just double checking. I don't know. It's like speaking hyperbole.
Tank Bigsby?
13. Well, okay, but there's an expectation with the 3rd round pick that he's going to be pretty good.
So you're saying 4th and later?
I'd say even 5th and later. 4th kind of gets in that bridge category where some people think that 4th round pick for a lot of teams can be a starter.
Okay.
But 7th round picks, especially when your team is built like this, have a hard time even making the team. And Cooper Hodges, I think he had locked up the backup job to Brandon Sheriff. That's my take on it. Like, I think he was there. He was that guy. He was on the depth chart, but I think that's how much they like him. That'd be a hell of a find out of Baker County and App State.
Do you think they liked him enough that he would start working at the other guard position?
Yeah.
If
I don't
be?
know. I don't know that answer. Crossed my mind too, though.
Because,
it's like they might need some help there.
Well, that and it would basically take Brandon Sheriff to lose a limb to come out of the game. So,
well, good point.
You're never really getting in there.
Who would you say could be the find of the draft? Would you go Tank Bigsby?
Ventrell Miller would be my answer.
So you seeing good things out of him? You guys see a different view when you're watching it on TV. Sometimes it's almost easier to tell.
I'm
I'm noticing him, but not like crazy.
I thought he was already good. So really, I didn't need as much like push in that direction. It was like, all right, flash a little bit. I think he's flashed in both games. And I think he could be a quality player for them. But there ain't nowhere for him to play. Because he's not playing over, I mean, maybe Muma, maybe, but I don't think so. So then at that point, you're fourth on the depth chart. But also, I think he should be on the team.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to really go.
Ventrell Miller, in my opinion, is a signing for next year in the future, right? Could they replace Foyer?
But it's still a depth play.
Is he going to be ready to replace Foyer? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they shake that middle line, that linebacker spot out. Can Muma move into that role when Foyer is not the guy? Yeah, you're right. It's probably still a depth. Like their starting linebackers, even without Foyer, could easily be Devin Lloyd and Muma.
I think he's good, though. I really do.
Well, again, they created really good competition and push and getting a lot out of these young guys. I just think Cooper Hodges, seventh-round picks, I just have no expectation for. And call up Kasey real quick. Who were last year's 6th and 7th-round picks? Because Gregory Jr. fits in this mold. And I believe Monteric Brown fits in this mold. And those guys are taking a step. Are the Jags starting to find stuff super late in the draft, along with undrafted free agents? Because if you want to go all the way back to a guy like James Robinson, where they had a lot of success.
So you've only got 3 of them. Snoop Connor in the 5th, Gregory Jr., and then Monteric Brown.
All right, so we believe a guy like Snoop Connor's probably not going to be on the team. There's just not enough room for him. I don't know where they're going to put him.
I think Gregory Jr. is playing. I don't think he's just on the team. I think he's playing.
And I think Monteric Brown is part of their depth.
I agree.
And now you go to this year. Let's just go check out. I know they had much more picks, right? So we'll start the 5th round.
They've got,
you
have it?
They got Abdullah.
Yep.
It starts there, who has shown some nice things. Didn't do much in the other day. Antonio Johnson, people love him, and I really think he's going to factor in. Parker Washington, believe he's going to make this team. Christian Braswell had the pick, but outside of that, I think it's been a lot of.
He had a couple plays.
Maybe he's a good player. Here's the problem with Braswell. He was not on the practice field a lot in camp. He was doing conditioning and off to the side and stuff, so it's hard to have like a baseline. But then he has the pick, and then you say a couple plays the other day, like maybe he's starting to pile things up and come on. Maybe that is more of a find than we even know. We'll see. I just don't have a good feel for that one. Eric Hallett, I've seen a couple nice things, but I don't want to get over dramatic. And then there's Cooper Hodges. Hodges, again, I think is the steal of the draft for them right now. I think they love him. Vahasek saw some nice things. Derek Parrish, I don't think is going to make the team. I think they're going to go tight end fullback if they need to do that.
So there's 7 guys right there that they drafted in the 5th round through the 7th round. 7 guys.
Yeah, the jury's still out on a lot of them, on all of them, really.
But
that's incredible.
A lot of those guys are making the team, I think.
Yeah, this goes back to a conversation we had a little bit earlier in the show at some point. Maybe it was the 4 o'clock hour. The scouting department here in Jacksonville, the front office, the collaboration of coaches, however they're making this work and identifying talent, they appear to be doing a heck of a job. Heck of a job. And that's where you build the depth is late in those rounds, the undrafted guys, and obviously some free agent pickups too, but the moderate level free agent pickups. You bring your frontline guys, our big free agent guys, early draft pick guys, and then maybe a steal somewhere in there. The depth is built in the back end of that draft and also in the modest free agent level that you go after.
They drafted 13 guys. You could make a case. I mean, you could make a case 10 of them are making it. I think more realistically, like 7 of them are making it.
Here's one other question about that class, which we don't know yet. And do you have a feel? Is anyone a stud? And I know what you guys. Bigsby's going to get attention here in this kind of conversation. Bigsby, but the problem is he might not have opportunity yet to prove that he's a stud. So there's no way we can really know that. Is Harrison a stud?
I think he could be.
Might be. Early returns are good.
In 2 preseason games, early returns are good.
And if not stud level because of opportunity, because of the depth of the roster right now, I think Brenton Strange is a good player, man. And I think Bigsby's a good player.
I think Ventrell's a good player.
and you like Ventrell. Yeah, so I mean,
so that's 4 of the top 4.
There's a lot of different guys you can buy into, and you might have your favorite. Kasey might have his favorite. I might have my favorite. Again, I just said a little bit earlier, I think Cooper Hodges is like the steal so far. Now, right now he's on the shelf. We'll see how long it goes. But let's hope it's not a whole season injury. Hope he can get back to practicing and working and get in the NFL game. But it could be a terrific find. If they're comfortable with Hodges, think about it for next year. Take Sheriff's money off the books if you're comfortable putting a guy like Hodges in who's a 7th-round draft pick.
He's basically paying you to be there.
That is how you build winning football teams. If it plays out that way. A lot to be determined there. But the early returns on that are pretty good. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kuhrts. You can always jump in the conversation, 904-362-9901. Edge rusher continues to be a concern for the Jags after Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. I'm getting mixed reviews on K'Lavon Chaisson, and I'm starting to think that everyone out there just doesn't like Chaisson, so he can't do anything good. And now he didn't help my cause because he jumps off sides on like a 3rd or 4th and short. 4th and short? I think it was 4th and short. Which you can't do.
No.
I thought the early stuff from Chaisson the other day was good. I get it. It was a free runner, and he missed the sack. I'm not saying he did anything special on that play. But I also thought he was back there 2 other times, and I saw him in the backfield help stop a big run play, too. I thought he played well the other day. But then I talked to a couple other people like, hey, he did nothing again. I just think people are over Chaisson.
I think, and I don't think this is unfair, you might. I think there's some expectation that if you are a first-round draft pick, you are able to somewhat dictate what's happening on the field against 2nd and 3rd teamers. I don't think that's unfair.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a fair expectation still in year 4 because it hasn't been done. I also don't know if it's a fair expectation for a guy that's 245 pounds. Yannick Ngakoue didn't throw people around.
But he dictated.
He got there. I don't know if he dictated play. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, those are big body guys, physical freaks that can dictate play. I think right now, Chaisson's a guy that if you're asking why they believe in him, it's because of the ability to stop the run, and the game has slowed for him to the point where he's tactically making more of the right decisions. But he still has to kind of let the game come to him, which is, and be patient and pick his spots. And I don't know if people are going to like that or dig that or ever get on board with that from that position, to your point. Like, I understand it. You think of Max Crosby. You think of T.J. Watt. You think of name it, Bosa's. You think of big-time pass rushers. They are, like, throwing you like a bale of hay and then getting to the quarterback. I don't think we're going to see that from Chaisson. He's 240.
I don't think we will either. But even if you're not overpowering people, you can, use your finesse to get through like other guys do. And that's not happening. And I think, again, through 2 preseason games in 3 years, if we think that they are an AFC top-tier contending team, it's not good enough. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think they're good enough either back there yet.
Their top 2 guys may be good enough, and that's a maybe good enough. We're not even sure.
They need to be good enough.
They need to be good. That's a good way to say it. But
they need to be good enough more than Chaisson needs to be good enough.
But if you look past it, and let's just say they're not good enough, but if you look past that point, what do they got?
Yeah.
You're kind of banking on Chaisson, Jordan Smith, Abdullah.
Yeah, well, okay, so that was, by the way, Abdullah popped a little bit in Dallas. Jordan Smith showed up in this game. And that was nice to see.
And I'm fine with that. But as your second option, second up, somebody tweaks an ankle and they miss a half of football, not even a big thing.
No, not good.
Not good. And you re-signed Smoot. We know where that is injury-wise. I believe in Smoot, but he's not ready. So what happens?
All right, so I got 2 thoughts. Well, I really have a lot more thoughts, but let me give you these 2 right away.
Okay.
Take Chaisson, where his impact is going to come, or Jordan Smith, is when they're in pass rush situations, I believe, and they bring in that 3rd speed pass rusher.
Right.
Right? So now you're seeing him in these situations where he's got to be one of the top 2 dudes, like in these preseason games. But that's probably not the package that he's going to be in a lot in in these games. He's going to be in there with Trayvon, with Josh, put Chase on in. And there can he make an impact play when he's like the third option that you got to keep your eye on. Let's see. I don't know. Okay. We'll see. Same thing with a Jordan Smith. Like, you're not going to ask him to be Josh Allen. You're going to ask him to play along with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker in a certain situation, which is an obvious passing situation. So I think there's an element of that exists with the whole Chase on and everything else. I also believe that this comes down more to Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. You don't need to get a lot. You don't need dominance from those other guys. You need dominance from those top two guys because they're expected to do it. The other play I have here is, I'm not sure people are going to like the idea of this, but I think it will open the door for Allen and Walker and other guys to be dominant when the most dominant part of the Jags defense might be their interior. That's not sexy, but it might be fact. And guess who else is really good in like that? A team like Philly.
Sure.
Excellent up the gut.
Now they really are.
Right?
Yeah.
Dominant up the gut. Opens the door for a Hassan Reddick 16 sack season. DaVon Hamilton, Roy Robertson Harris playing well down the stretch of the season opened the door for more impact plays last year for Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, some others to jump in there. I really think that's our focus point, should be more from a pass rush standpoint, how much those guys are going to impact it. Now, you lose DaVon Hamilton. So as I'm saying this, a little bit, because that takes one of those guys away. But Foley Fatukasi, DaVon Hamilton, if he gets healthy, and Roy Robertson Harris have looked the part. So much so that it gives me confidence they're going to impact passing plays to help those other guys further impact the passing plays.
Sure.
And I think that's not like a blind faith thing. Might be a little blind faith right now to say, hey, Trayvon's going to have 7.5 sacks. I get it. Might be a little blind faith to say Chason's going to do anything. I get it. I don't think it's blind faith after what we saw the second half of last year, the extension and money they gave those guys to prove that they saw it too, and the things that we've seen in the early part of this camp and season, to say that those guys in the middle have been really good. And in actuality, the bulky Urban Meyer find of Roy Robertson Harris might be a hell of a find. They took a flyer on a guy that they thought was about to take the next step, and it looks like he's taking the next step.
Yeah. Pump the brakes a little bit, but yeah.
Well, I'm not telling you he's Aaron Donald.
No.
I'm just saying he's like more of an impact player that can grow into an extension and hit his prime like right now.
Right. Hopefully. But it is still the preseason. And I know he did it in the playoffs, but we had a year plus before that, and we weren't saying that. We were talking about guys where we could save money.
We had a good conversation with Josh Allen on Saturday night. And I'm going to give you two keys to that conversation, I thought, as he's going through the pass rush and other things. And actually, I'll give you three. One is a little bit of a model they have, and it was really interesting that it showed up on Saturday against the Lions for Chason. He said, we got to hit our layups. And the layup is the first play of the game that Chason missed.
Right.
And Josh, when he looked back on the tape last year, saw the same thing. He missed some layups. He'd go from 7 sacks to 11 like that. And I think we all saw that. That's why the PFF numbers are so promising for him. Got to hit your layups. You got to get them. That changed. The money in the layups for a pass rusher is massive.
Life-changing.
Like, he'll say, go watch some of the best pass rushers. The guys that have 12, 13, 14 sacks. They are not winning on every rep. They are not. There's some mop-up stuff in there, but they mop it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. That was good perspective. I'm like, okay, now you got to get it done. Because to be honest with you, that's what Josh did a little bit in his rookie year, because he had Calais and Jan. And so with all the attention on those guys, Josh was able to get a couple of those. Hey, put a hand on him. There's a sack.
Yeah.
Right? So hit your layups is one of the tenets of this Jags defense, but especially for guys like Josh Allen in this huge year. The other thing is they have such an understanding of the defense now that even up front, but I think I talked to Andre Sisco about this last week, and I think we ran the interview.
We did.
About the freelancing ability that they have. Well, take that even on the front side of the defense too. Josh brought that up. Like, hey, I know where Foley's supposed to be, or I know that Fourier is going to be right behind me. But we've also worked enough together that if I see something and I know I'm right, I can go where he's supposed to be and he'll cover my side. The problem is if he doesn't cover your side, it could break.
Yeah.
But they feel comfortable about that. Let's see if it works. And you also have to be smart when you pick those plays. Because he said, I was like, well, how do you know when to pick plays? Because if you pick the play, it better work. Right? If Andre Sisco freelances, it better work. If not, it's
touchdown.
See ya.
Yeah.
So I just thought the understanding of that, the ability to almost communicate that, shows you where this defense is at, shows you where Josh is at. I think Trayvon Walker is in the same way. The understanding of the defense, he said this with me on the sideline, but Josh also said this about him too. He has such an understanding now of the defense and where he's supposed to be and what Mike Caldwell wants out of him that now he can just play. And there's nobody that lights up in a room more than Josh Allen when you say somebody just let Trayvon just go play because he's freaky and he's a beast. But if you're thinking and slow and all those things really over the years start to add up and make more sense to me. Like, I understand it. I get it. And the fact is, can they do it? Can they really process it? Oh, this is the Devin Lloyd conversation as well. This is where you see the growth out of guys like Tyson Campbell and maybe Andre Sisco, where the communication now is just a second nature type thing. The understanding is second nature, so it just allows them to play free and fast. And it goes back to what the Lions, I think a lot of Lions reporters, maybe Risden himself was part of this, that said, this defense looks fast. Well, one of the reasons your defense looks fast is because you're just not thinking and you're just playing.
True.
So we'll see if we see that. We have to see that from this group. But just interesting from some of the conversation we had with Josh. And a lot of it makes sense. Now you got to go do it. Hit the layups, play fast.
They got to hit the layups. I just think that we've given them, as we should, so much credit for the depth that they've built. Not at that position.
No, because somebody brought this up to me, and I think it's a fair point. Who are you afraid of on the defense?
I mean, maybe Josh Oluwakin.
Well, the thing about it is if you take Josh, I don't know if teams go in afraid of Josh yet, but we know this. You're afraid to see the defense without Josh.
Yes.
You know? So, like, we're afraid without it. I'm not sure teams are totally afraid with him in it. Can that change this year? Because you can identify some guys that you're afraid. Tyson Campbell go to a place where you don't want to throw that way. You're afraid of him. Josh Allen, you're afraid of him. Trayvon Walker get to a place where he can do so many things and he's a freak you can't block. You become afraid of him. And then those guys in the middle. So we'll see if they take the step. I mean, we talk about it. We've been talking about it for months. We're about to see it. But I'm telling you, that defense is brimming with confidence that they can do it. And they showed up pretty good in Detroit on the practice field, too. And I think that's also, like, Josh brought that up. That's supposed to be a good offensive line. And he thought they dominated some of the stuff in Detroit. See if they can dominate during the season. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Trevor Gibbs. Quiet weather continues this evening. Temperatures cooling through the 80s into the 70s overnight before hot temperatures on the way for Tuesday. Mostly sunny skies, so it'll be a dry and nice day, but warm temperatures in the lower to middle 90s. The warmest will be away from the coast. We'll have an onshore wind continuing the next several days, quite gusty at times Wednesday into Thursday. A few showers will be possible Wednesday afternoon. Otherwise, mostly dry weather continues through the end of the week. Temperatures warming up again by the weekend. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Trevor Gibbs.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. For a limited time, get 5 years, 0 interest, only at Beards Diamonds. The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. $10 to enter. See you at the Gun Show.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
How would you like to have Amazon's incredible customer targeting power at your fingertips for your business? April Davis here. Visit cmglocalsolutions.com to learn about Amazon first-party data. Yeah, Amazon knows which people out there are already interested in what you have to sell. Maximize your ROI by visiting cmglocalsolutions.com under our Solutions tab to learn more, or give us a call, 904-454-2914, 904-454-2914. Tell them April Davis sent you.
Make an impact for our youth by getting involved with the Sponsor a Champion program at the Malavia Washington Youth Foundation. Call 904-359-5437 for more information. Again, that's 904-359-KIDS.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab of Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. It was really interesting that we were talking about Miles Jack just about a week ago or so. A couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Just from a fan favorite standpoint. And he retired.
That was weird. Well, like it wasn't because we had the earlier context, but it's strange that like he was on the Eagles and retired. You know, it's like if you're on Arizona, I get it. Like if you can only catch on with Arizona or one of those teams, okay. The Eagles are like the best team in the league.
Yeah, I wonder if he wasn't going to make it.
I guess there's some of that. Because that's the only thing I could think of, I guess, now that you bring it up. Because kind of in a good spot. Good defense. Might be legendary defense. Might be in the Super Bowl again. I mean, you got to do what makes you happy, whether it has to do with football or not. But I was actually surprised to see it.
So here's a game. We went the other day because Aaron had said that he's beloved. I questioned beloved, but it came back like 85%, maybe more, that he was
beloved.
No, liked a lot, like positive, looked at positive.
Beloved.
So if you want to stretch it to beloved, go nuts.
I have a jersey.
So he plays 7 years in the league. What I still have a hard time figuring out about Miles Jack is, was he good? Was he good enough for the second-round pick? And part of the reason I have a little bit of a problem with it, because I had high expectations for Miles.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best player coming out of that draft. That included, for the Jags alone, Jalen Ramsey and Yannick Ngakoue. Included guys like Ezekiel Elliott. Included, I think that was a DeForest Buckner draft. Like, he had some good players in that draft. But the knee, it was a wild story. We were in Chicago. I'll never forget it. And that knee became the big story for a couple of days right around the draft. And what people were concerned about was, I guess you would call it the degeneration of the knee. And would he be able to play a long time in the NFL? And, well, he just wrapped up a career after 7 years. And I have no indication like it is because of the knee.
Yeah, we haven't heard that.
So the other thing that flipped for a lot of folks and kind of left the league half and half on the knee stuff, but I remember Bill Polian during the draft coverage or maybe leading up was like, you're not supposed to be worried about year 6, 7, and 8 anymore as a GM in the second contract. If you can get one of these guys for 4 or 5 years and he makes an impact on your football team, then you did a good job. And I was like, that's a good point, because everybody's thinking when you draft somebody, you need them for 10 years at the first round or second round. And I thought that was a great point by Polian. And from that perspective, as a second-round pick, I thought the Jags got a lot of value with Miles Jack in the second round. And I think they did okay in the second round with Miles.
There's no doubt.
I also think they misused Miles at times. I think they delayed his progress and career. And I'm going to tell you something that I think is, this is the other reason I have a hard time computing Miles. I think Miles is a good dude. I think Miles has 2 careers for me in the sense of a growth as like a player person that, like, at least we get to see and know as much as we think we can see and know. And I'm not going to pretend we know him more than we do. When Paul Posluszny was there, the story about Miles Jack when he got to Jacksonville is he followed Posluszny around like a little puppy, which was a great move. And he learned from Posluszny, and so did Telvin Smith, by the way. 2 major losses to that locker room after 2017 was Posluszny and Mercedes Lewis. But sticking on the Posluszny side of things, that's when things start to go sideways in 2018 and beyond for Telvin Smith. Now, were they already sideways? Maybe. But they were at least suppressed, I think, even by a guy like Posluszny and the view of that room and the expectation and the standard. I think that's how much impact he had. And he had impact on Telvin Smith. He had impact on Miles Jack. What happens when Puz goes away is Telvin, I don't want to say he just goes downhill, but some of the Telvin not-so-great stuff starts to pop a little bit. But I think influencing Miles Jack at that time is a guy like Telvin Smith, is the locker room guys like Jalen Ramsey. And I think that kind of spun things a little bit differently for Miles at that stage of his career. Not from a playing standpoint or anything, but like kind of who he was in company with. He never got in trouble either, by the way. So I'm not saying this like, oh my gosh, he started getting arrested and everything else. I'm saying it was just like a different thing. I wonder if Puz stayed for another year. Does it change a little bit of the trajectory of maybe even Telvin Smith's NFL life or life? And I don't want to give too much credit to a person. I mean, Telvin might have gone down this road no matter what. But before the stuff with the law and Telvin, remember, he decided to, give up millions of dollars and get out of football.
Yeah.
That was before the other stuff that had to do with him being arrested.
It's close, though, but yeah.
Millions of dollars. And then Miles, again, would he have been, from a playing standpoint, even better with one more year maybe under Puz? I don't know. I'd love to have seen it. But again, I'm not telling you everything was directly related to that, but the timing was coincidental at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
And in that locker room, as it started to separate a little bit, and what we now know because we did this a couple weeks ago, that 17 team was just not going to stay together because all those guys have been on multiple teams now or are out of the league. There was not going to be continuity with that football team. But along with Puz hanging it up, so did Mercedes Lewis went to Green Bay. You lost these two pillars in the locker room. Now you had Calais Campbell, but maybe you just didn't have enough. And there were some other leaders in there. But it's something that always gets kind of referred to, I think, even in the media when we're talking about those days. I don't know if it's really talked about outside the walls as much as you reflect back on that time frame. But I think it was pretty crystal clear. There was again, Miles isn't a bad guy. I think he was a little bit a different guy, though, once Puz left. And it wasn't the same, and I guess more so importantly, would have been even a more impactful player with a little more tutelage.
Maybe.
Or did the Jags just do him wrong because he kept bouncing his position around?
Well, listen, I'm not a believer in that. That's what I've talked about with Trayvon a lot. I think you got to put somebody in a position and let them grow and let them succeed. And I think they certainly didn't do that with Miles, and I think that did hurt. But in terms of being a second-round pick and, how the whole thing played out, I mean, Brent, he's been a good player. 7 years, 4 in total, 1 with Pittsburgh. 4 of those years, over 100 tackles. I mean, if you're an AV person, it's never been lower than 5, but it's been 6 the last 3 years. If you go back to 17 and 18, his AV's 9 and 17. It's 10 and 18. For comparison, Drew Brees' was 16 and his was 10. So they're saying in 2018, Miles Jack was very, very, very valuable in terms of the whole league, not just in Jacksonville. I mean, careers are shorter now. It is what it is. He was good. He wasn't great. He's not the best player to ever play, but for a second-round pick, I mean, you would have liked to get maybe a year or two more out of it, but at his position, you can't really, in my opinion, you can't really argue with more times than not tackling over 100 people in a season.
Yeah, I guess that's good. I was surprised by the number of sacks. I thought he only had 6.5 sacks in his career. I know it's not a sack position necessarily, but maybe the Jags didn't let him eat enough at times. You get infatuated with the guy's ability, athletic, freaky ability, that you throw him out in coverage and stuff like that, instead of maybe go make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I believe if you go back to our conversations about Miles Jack, when he was done with the Jags initially or even later in his career with the Jags, this is a lot on the Jags. This is one player that the Jags kind of should have got more out of.
I agree
in my opinion.
I do,
and I
agree with
don't
that.
even think it's his fault completely. There might be some things that are his fault. Like I just said, I think he was a little different player guy with the Puz versus the Telvin. Kind of that time frame adds up to some things, but the Jags misused him and didn't set him up to play at his best all the time. He's freaky athlete. I feel like the standard for him, based on my expectation coming out of school, I feel like he should have done a little bit more. And yet I feel like that's not all on him.
I would agree. I agree that the Jags could have done better in developing him, in using him, in fitting him into a position and keeping him there. But I think also when you're talking about a player like, one, at that position, but also in college, he was clearly better than everybody. Like, you get that in college.
Absolutely.
You're better than most people. So going into the NFL and then playing in that middle linebacker position, he may have been more talented than even still players on the field, but you can't really show it at that position in the NFL, I don't think, unless you're super rare, like a Luke Kuechly.
Well, where they found out the best place to play Miles is off the ball. The problem is, off the ball, in 2017 coming into the league, they had a Pro Bowl guy there in Telvin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So they essentially had two guys that could play the same spot. This is what I've been talking about a little bit about the Jags and their left tackle spot. And I'm not saying it's going to turn out the same way. But this is why I have scar tissue of it turning out in a not great way, is because the Jags, in my opinion, right now they look like they have a right tackle in Anton Harrison. He's fitting in fine, and maybe their vision's great for it. But a month ago, they had three left tackles: Cam Robinson, Walker Little, and Anton Harrison. And you can only play one. So now they're going to play guys in different spots, and hopefully it works. Look, Walker Little did fine at the guard spot. Anton Harrison's been doing fine at the right tackle spot. They might be right on the money. And you know what? Miles Jack was a good enough player that he wasn't bad at the other spots. Just wasn't as good as he could have been if he had put him on off the ball. But at the same time, I will say this about the Jags and their defense. We got a lot out of Telvin Smith, by the way, in the 5th round that year with the Pro Bowl.
Oh, they got a lot out of Telvin.
And the value of picking Miles Jack at the time that they picked him in the 2nd round was off the charts good.
Mm-hmm.
Off the charts good. So why they maybe could have put him at a different position to get the best out of him, they got a hell of a lot of value to try to put him in some other positions because of his abilities. And it just didn't work out as well as maybe it could have for however many reasons. This dude's a young guy who's made like $50 million. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what. He's an interesting cat now. He owns a little bit of the Iceman. He's done the candle business stuff.
He's definitely going to do something.
He is doing something.
Miles is not the guy that we won't hear from for 20 years.
No.
He's going to do something.
Yeah, and it's going to be like.
Different.
It's going to be different.
But probably profitable.
Yeah, profitable, and for him, probably has a lot of worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's going to find that thing, even if it's not something that, like, you and I would sign up for.
I agree with that.
You know?
It'll be different.
He's kind of a cool guy in that sense. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. We put a bow on the show here on a Monday when we come back.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine.
If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville. As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital, CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Tired of casting a wide net with digital marketing and no luck? Well, you can reel in the exact customers you want with Exact Match from Cox Media Group Local Solutions Jacksonville. April Davis here. Exact Match helps you market across social media, search engines, display ads. With Exact Match, hook the exact people searching for precisely what you have to offer. Exact Match from cmglocalsolutions.com, cmglocalsolutions.com, or call us at 904-293-1989.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
Find out what's causing your hair to fall out. Can your hair grow back? What procedures or products will work? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS's Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They're the only clinic to offer the trademark multi-unit hair grafting, PRP platelet-rich plasma, and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure. Real solutions, real results.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Kinetico softener and drinking water system. Kinetico's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Kinetico K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Jasmine is Northeast Florida's only LGBTQ+ youth center, offering health and mental health programs, housing supports, and teen and family initiatives. Jasmine is the safe place our LGBTQ+ young people need right now. Partner to support our effort. Visit jasmine.org today.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
No 1st and 10 training camp tonight.
Oh.
Show's over?
Show's over.
Buried one show in the books for 2023.
Nice.
Oh, this just in 8 seconds ago.
Wow, that's pretty.
Colts have given All-Pro running back Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade. What's fair value?
So they really said we're going to do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the word on the street, or from Irsay and from everybody else, and Steichen, I think, said that they were going to travel, I think they might be with the Eagles joint practices this week, and said he was going to travel, even though he's not technically ready to go and still not fully happy.
But then they're not going to trade him because they're going to be like, nah, we're not getting enough back.
I don't know, man. Usually when you see this, like they'll find a way. Like if you have a good agent, find a way. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, they eventually found a way.
Jalen's different. Jalen's a corner.
I get it. But, I mean, they got a lot for him. I don't know if they need the bottom line is how much do they need to get for him. Like, you don't know that. But
a second.
We found out that the Jags have got a ton for Ramsey. They're not going to get this for.
No. Maybe they need football players because they're not good instead of picks. I mean, who's going to get him? Like, I know that's a kind of a dumb question, but at the same time, is it a dumb question? Because
that's what I was thinking of. Who's going to go get him?
Because the one thing about the injuries that we've seen in the preseason, it hadn't really been to running back.
Yeah, he's 24. He's got good football. If you want to go get a back and sign a back.
I mean, the first team that comes to mind, but it feels like every single player this offseason we've done this is Miami.
Yeah, that'd be something if they had him to Miami. That's pretty good.
You'd have to believe now the Jets are out. They've been in on every player, but they're not going for another running back.
Yeah.
I mean, Saquon showed up, so the Giants are out. In terms of, like, the good teams I'm thinking of, the Jags are out. Cincinnati's got Mixon. They don't run it enough to make that an interesting investment. Seattle's got all kinds of backs. San Francisco has McCaffrey. Dallas has Pollard. Maybe Dallas. Minnesota, maybe.
Yeah, Dallas likes Deuce Vaughn, too.
Like the good teams, I mean, Philly's not doing it.
Let me give you a trade scenario of unhappy players, the Raiders and the Colts.
For the backs?
Yeah. Would the Raiders go get Jonathan Taylor and sign him to a big deal and give the franchise tag guy over to Jacobs is coming back now?
I would be, if I was either of those guys, which at the end of the day, you know, it's not really up to them, I would be very hesitant to go somewhere that's already beefing with their running back.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's a good point. Like, who's going to give up capital? But he's 24 and one of the best in the league.
I mean,
somebody's willing. Are they willing to give up enough?
Like the Rams should be interested.
But it's the bigger story. We did this a couple times in the show already. The odds keep going up for the Jags. Like, has this line moved? In the first week of the year, it was 3.5 to open. The Jags should be like 7.5 favorites right now. They might not even have Jonathan Taylor.
7.5? That's a lot of points.
You're playing the rookie. You're hardly playing the rookie in the preseason, and you might not have Jonathan Taylor. You don't think that's enough to swing 4 points?
3.5, now 4.5. 6.5, I'm with you. 7.5, that's a lot of points, Brent.
I mean, this could be another advantage.
Definitely is.
I don't. You're not going to go put him back. I was thinking of the AFC South. Would you put him in Houston? Would you put him in Tennessee? You don't know.
No.
And about Ezekiel Elliott just went to the Patriots.
Yeah, it's
Do the Ravens need a back?
Probably. Ravens always take the backs. But the good teams, it feels like, are locked up. So if you're Jonathan Taylor, you might have to go to a bet.
This conversation is one of the reasons why nobody's paying the backs.
It's true.
That's going to do it for a Monday show. Back at it tomorrow. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. We'll see you on TV as well, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Have a good rest of your Monday, everybody.
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Duval!
Have a good night, everybody.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi.